Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new episode of WrestleCast. I'm your host, Rich Billy Jr., and tonight I'm joined by Mr. Adam Vale. How's it going, Adam?
What's up, people? What's up? Get ready for some wrestling all weekend long, nonstop. Some good, some
Absolutely.
bad.
Absolutely. Started tomorrow night, so get ready
Yeah.
for that.
Mm-hmm.
Also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How's it going, Dana?
It's going great, guys. Woo!
That's not enough excitement. You're supposed to be excited for Survivor Series.
Yeah, Triple H, Kurt Angle.
Oh, game changer. What? Changed my life when they announced he was in it. Mind blown.
Absolutely. And we have a special guest tonight. We are joined by Andrade Cien Almas, a.k.a. Ricky. How's it going, Ricky?
Muchas gracias.
Slick Rick.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I'm ready for some Turkey Week action with Survivor Series, WarGames. Yeah, let's bring it.
Awesome. Yes. So I would like to take this opportunity to apologize for those that wonder where was WrestleCast. You know, I actually have been very busy as of late, looking at different stuff regarding careers, life, etc. But no, had to come back because, you know, we definitely needed to talk about Survivor Series. A lot happened over the last couple of weeks that pretty significant to WWE. So we have a couple of topics we're going to get into. First and foremost, we're going to start off with this topic because, I mean, this is relatively old news. Well, some of it's new. But recently, as of, I believe it was yesterday, we found out that WWE released James Ellsworth. Prior to that release, they also got rid of Emma, Rae, and Darren Young. So I did want to ask you guys' thoughts on some of the people that they did get rid of, and then I'll obviously share my own thoughts. So, Dana, how about you start us off with your thoughts?
My heart truly felt sad for James when he was released, just because he just seems like such a really great guy, and you could tell that the company didn't really know what to do with him because the last match that he had, he was getting beat up by women, and so I was kind of confused about the direction it was going. But that, with that said, you kind of knew that something was not good. But the other wrestlers, I honestly did not even know they were still on payroll. So, aside from James, I felt nothing.
Interesting. All right, so I'll go ahead and say my thoughts real quick, and then I'll move over to Ricky and Adam. I wasn't happy to hear about them getting rid of James Ellsworth. Obviously, I thought he was already there for too long, but I thought he was now being used to elevate Carmella, so I figured, well, it's okay to keep him around. Now, I don't really know what the direction is going to be for Carmella because of this. I guess they can always, when they decide to bring Big Cass back from injury, maybe he can actually portray her. You know, he's already her real-life boyfriend. Maybe he can portray the boyfriend on the screen also. I mean, I don't know how they're going to play that. But, yeah, James Ellsworth, as you said, Dana, great guy. Glad he had his little run. Even though I thought it was ridiculous that he beat AJ Styles so many times, but I'm totally fine with that. To me, the biggest issue of the releases, to me, was Emma, because they had her have that match with Asuka, and I expected Asuka to dominate her in both of those matchups, and they just made Emma look impressive in both of those matchups. So I didn't understand that. I didn't really like that because I figured, well, maybe you got plans for Emma. But the fact that they just get rid of her like that is, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. As for Rae and Darren Young, they haven't been around for a while, so I don't really care about them. I know they'll do well, obviously, but yeah, it's not really as important as Emma and James Ellsworth, in my opinion. So how about you, Ricky? Any thoughts on these releases?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo the sentiment as far as with Ellsworth and Emma. I'll start with Emma first because that was probably the most shocking one to me. I thought that with how they had her fight Asuka in her main roster debut, that was a sign of maybe kind of a mini push for Emma. It's kind of add another woman to the fray there. But no, they decided to go a different direction. I'm not sure what may have happened to have, lead to the release like that. But yeah, and I guess Emma hasn't really been endearing herself in the indie scene with some of her demands. But that's something that I guess we can expand on later. Ellsworth, I mean, I was surprised when they signed him to a contract to begin with last year. I thought he was just kind of like a one-time thing, just for kicks and all that. But I thought he was really starting to come onto his own as a valet for Carmella, and so this release was a bit surprising to me. And as you said, like, he's very well liked backstage. Daniel Bryan likes him, and Shinsuke Nakamura likes him. So that kind of might even hurt a little bit of the chemistry backstage. I don't know. I know that Ellsworth had his own promotion, so maybe he's going to focus more on that. I'm sure we'll see him again on WWE television in the future, but may not be full-time capacity. I have nothing really to comment on as far as Summer Rae and Darren Young. They've been pretty much non-existent for a while. The last thing I remember about Summer Rae was her disastrous angle with Rusev. I was glad that got squashed. And Darren Young had the whole thing with Bob Backlund, and they just decided to just cut that off for no reason. I don't know. It was just random. They just stopped pushing him.
Like Sister Abigail, it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the funny thing with the Sister Abigail. It's just like that whole thing was just a fucking joke. And I'm glad they just swept that under the rug. But yeah, I don't really, as far as Summer Rae and Darren Young, I mean, I don't know, they'll find other work. But Ellsworth and Emma are obviously the headliners as far as these cuts go.
I agree. Okay, how about you, Adam? What are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised by any of this. I mean, well, the one thing, at least when it comes to Ellsworth, I'm like, how much do you think they were actually paying him? You know what I mean? It's like whatever they were paying, probably a drop in the bucket. So it's like, are you really that hard up for cash? Or you got to let go of these type of people? Because I mean, if you really want to save some money, get rid of some of the big names, making the six figures. Drop one of those, and that'll probably save 3 other jobs. But I don't know. There's got to be more to it. The Emma thing, if you remember a few years back, she got busted from stealing some kind of iPhone case or something from Walmart, and then they had let her go over that. And then they squashed it and they brought her back. And then she did the repackaging after the injury. Remember, she was supposed to be sexy Emma. She was on the beach and all that stuff. And then they scrapped that. It's like, and everyone kept asking, when is she coming? When is she coming? Hell, even Corey Graves during the promos, like, is she really showing up here? Because, I mean, it's constant. They were like, oh, coming to Raw. And then they just scrapped that, and then they give her a different look. So it's like, for some reason, they just didn't know what to do with her. So it's like, all right, we don't know what to do with her. And then, yeah, they put her in that match, but we all know that she was in that match to lose. She's basically, just, what's the term? It's not jobbing anymore. It's a performance enhancer. That's what she was. She was just helping her out, making her look good. I mean, she can work. She's good at it, but it just never worked out. Even when she was with Santino, remember? And they were she had that little dance thing with her hands and stuff, and that still didn't catch on. It's catching on with Bayley, doing her little gimmick similar to that goofiness, but it just didn't catch up with hers. And then they sent her back to NXT. So
yeah, I was going to say that it's just a shame because, things didn't work out with her and Santino, but I thought that she worked really well with Dana Brooke. I thought they were a great pair.
Yeah, it's just so weird. That's why it's like with something like that, when you hear about a release like that, it tells me that something's going on behind the scenes. There's got to be more to it, and then maybe she doesn't get along well, maybe the creative, or maybe she's having issues. Who knows? I mean, but she's gone now, so it is what it is. Darren Young, there was talks they were going to let him go a long time ago, but then he came out of the closet, and that would have looked bad if they would have let him go then. Then he got injured, when he was doing the Primetime Players, remember that? And then he got hurt, so then they were like, all right, we'll figure something out for him. And then he comes back, and he had the Bob Backlund, and I didn't even think that was going to be a thing. I thought that was going to be temporary, that Bob Backlund was just going to, give him that encouragement. He was going to be like the coach type of thing, and then he would disappear, and then that was it. but it looked like both of them disappeared. So there goes that. And I saw somebody doing some fast food commercials. She's like eating a burger and all this other stuff. So she's doing other things in Hollywood. She's got things lined up. She's a pretty girl. So she's okay, and that's it. I mean, Ellsworth, if you ever watch the ride along, did you ever see that? Anybody ever watch that ride along?
I do.
Did you see? Remember when he was riding with AJ? And
I do.
He did one ride along, and he talked about it, and he was like, you know what? This is a dream. I was only supposed to be there for that one show, and then they signed me up, and next I got a T-shirt. You know what I mean? He was like, this is amazing. And he said, I know it's not going to last forever. I know it's going to, they even said it. It's all temporary. So that's it. And he knew it. He knew eventually it would have run dry. But man, with somebody who's committed like that and well-liked, you could do all kinds of things. Put him under a mask. Make him a lucha. Do something silly, for 205. Do anything. You know what I mean? But I guess they felt they needed to save whatever pennies they were paying him, because I know he wasn't making top dollar, and there goes that. So.
Absolutely.
Well, it works out. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, it kind of all works out in the end, because Ellsworth is getting tons and tons of offers from everyone. So he's going to be fine, and he has his own promotion, so he's going to be great.
Yeah. Like Eugene. Eugene has his own promotion up, too, and he's doing well. So, these guys can go on and do other things. It's just sad when you see something like this. You're like, well, what was the reason behind it? He's not a prick. People like him. He's not making big money, so it's not a finance thing. So what was it? You really couldn't find anything for him to do?
That's a good question.
Sorry. Again.
Oh, go ahead.
My theory is that they're really working with Big Cass, and they want to bring him back in. And that if you watch Total Divas, which is awful, but still, they are really pushing Big Cass and his connection with Carmella.
But he's still like 6 months out, right? Wasn't that like a serious 9-month type injury or something like that?
Yes, but he also teased that he's going to be back very soon, with less than 6 months, and he said around 2 months or so. So they're really trying to push him, and so it'll coincide with Total Divas, that type of thing. But even they could have easily found Ellsworth to do something.
Yeah.
But it's usually how it goes. The good guys always get cut, and we get stuck with the crappy ones who are pulling in millions and aren't doing it, like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, we'll get to Brock Lesnar very soon. Regarding Big Cass, it wouldn't have been difficult to just have a returning Big Cass just give the boot to Ellsworth to end that angle with him and Carmella, to just kind of do that. You don't have to cut the guy. I mean, I don't get it. But I mean, that's WWE for you. They keep Hornswoggle for freaking forever. But they get rid of Ellsworth in 1 year, and Ellsworth to me was more entertaining. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, they had to keep Hornswoggle. Remember that was Vince's son. That was you can't fire the boss's kid. What's wrong with you?
Hey, listen, whoever wrote that storyline had to be the same person that wrote the Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan storyline.
Yeah, they like doing those tie-in with kids, right?
God.
Yeah, terrible.
All about those bastard sons.
That's it.
So one quick thing I want to make, one quick comment I make before we move on to the next topic. I believe, Dana, you had mentioned to me earlier that there has been some news that Neville might be returning to WWE. I guess he's in talks with them. So can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, yes. There have been talks. Is that WWE is planning for Neville to return. As we all know, he was very angry with the company. He didn't like the direction of where his character was going. And so he walked out, and he never came back. And that's when, like, Nia Jax walked out as well. So the thing is that they've been in negotiations for quite a little while now. And they are very much adamant and very positive that everything is going out well, and that they do want him to return very soon. They're not giving an exact date, but it's going to be probably before or during Royal Rumble. So we have that to look forward to.
But is he coming back for 205, or are they going to bring him up to the other rosters?
Well, they might have him in 205. They don't know yet. Everything is in negotiations and in talks.
Because that's a question, right? I think that's why he was bitter, because he was like, what the fuck? Felt like he was stuck there.
He was stuck, and he was just miserable, and he didn't have any direction of anything where he's going. So he walked out. My theory, my hope is that they don't bring him back to 205 Live, because there really isn't anything for him to do. Because 205 to me is just a disaster as it is.
They should bring him back for that UK promotion that they want to do. Remember, because they have the UK Championship, and then they said in 2018 it's going to be its own show. They're going to have their own show out there. So have him out there. He's from the area, so it'll help out for him and his family, and just do that for a while. He could be a top guy there.
That would be good as well.
Yeah. Possible. Well, we'll see. Either way, I look for him. I look forward to him potentially returning, because I didn't like the fact that he left anyway. But we'll see what happens. So let's move on to the next topic. Unless you guys had anything else you wanted to say about this topic.
Oh, I guess to link up to what Ricky was saying real quick, since we're moving on about Emma and her pricing. For those who don't know, she's asking for quite a bit of money for appearances, and she wants first class flights and all this weird shit. So that's what he was referring to.
Hey, she's worth every penny, apparently.
I mean, the guy give him credit. She's a contractor. She's a contractor. Got to make her money while she's still hot, and technically still hot. But it's weird, because usually there's no compete clauses for a long period of time after, and it appears she doesn't have that clause.
Yeah.
So
it might not apply to the women. I don't know.
Maybe. But I mean, also, I don't know if she has to pay for a work visa, because she is from Australia, so I don't know how that whole thing works.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I just wanted to comment on Neville real quickly, just that I don't know about having him go to the UK division, because that would seem like a lateral move as far as the 205 Live, because it's really still, it would be good. I can understand the appeal of having him be part of the first show or whatever and being a big draw there, but still ultimately a lateral move, because it's not as much exposure as the main roster. It's not as much prominence. If you're talking about WrestleMania, you were talking about another pre-show match for Neville as opposed to in the actual pay-per-view itself. I think he wants something a little more prominent. I can see Neville being at least like, Intercontinental Champion type player on the main roster with the gimmick that he has going. I think he deserves better. And I think he believes that as well, and that might be part of why he wanted to step out to begin with. So, we'll see where they go. I hope he comes back, and I hope when he comes back, he'll be on the main roster. But we'll see where that goes.
Definitely a future Universal Champion.
Mm-hmm.
That might be pushing it a little bit.
I'm sure he brought that up, and I'm like, you want a new T-shirt? We got some great ideas for new T-shirts. You want to make a shitload of money in merch. I want to be champion. Yeah, let's talk about these T-shirts, okay? We got this one where you're doing the red arrow thing. It's like a hologram. I want to be champ. God damn. All right, listen. We're going to make these sneakers, right? We got new sneakers coming out. So I'm telling you, that is not in his future plans. I think the last time we saw a little man win the title like that was Rey Mysterio.
CM Punk.
He's not that little, though. I don't think
but
this guy's small. I mean, height-wise, what is he? He's like 5'6", 5'7", right? He's little.
He's like probably 5'9", I'd say.
Let me see that. Let me look this up.
He's definitely short. Dude's jacked, so he's got the look at least.
He's 5'8".
5'8", okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So that's what I'm saying. That's, even CM Punk was 6'1".
Yeah.
So he's a little guy. So, and that's just not how Vince rolls. It doesn't matter how good he is. Does he deserve it? Yeah, he could definitely hang and do it, but nope. Vince is in charge. You got to be big. big and strong.
There you go.
Brock.
Let me just check something real quickly. Oh, yeah. Chris Benoit was kind of a short guy, but he was 5'11", and that's, considerably taller than.
Yeah.
What about Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan, I think he was listed at 5'9". I could be wrong. He's 5'8". So
there you go.
5'8" guy right there.
And then you saw how hard it was for him to even damn get the title.
Yeah.
He wasn't. So he needed he needed the fans to do the yes chant and to hound them, and they took that shit away from him real quick too. So it didn't matter.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's like, as much as people are like, oh, he got concussions, they abused him. They put him in some horrible spots. Remember, he was taking power bombs, he was taking chair shots, he was taking bumps on the ladder and tape. There was a time, remember, it was like the Authority hated him, and they were throwing all the stuff back, and of course, one of those is going to mess him up, and you're going to get really hurt, and he got hurt. You don't see them doing that with Brock. Brock comes in, does one show, and peace. Be back in a few months.
That's right. All right, well, we'll get into Brock a little bit later. Let's move on to the next topic. Of course, there was a 30 for 30 Ric Flair special that aired not too long ago. I wanted to ask if there were any of you that had thoughts on this. I know I have not seen it yet. I haven't had the opportunity to really watch it yet. So you guys have any thoughts on the show, the special, if you did get a chance to see it?
I read the book. I read his book, and surviving a plane crash and his drinking problem and his love for the ladies. It was like 10,000 women he said he's had sex with or something like that. It's like, he's lived an amazing life. And then I've seen so many other specials that he's done. WWE has done specials on him. WCW has done specials on him. So it's like, I wasn't too thrilled about this. I'm like, what are you going to say that we don't already know? You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's a historic life that he's had so far. And for the casual, someone's like, oh, Ric Flair, I remember him. Let me watch this. Okay, but I felt like it wasn't going to offer anything new. So I'll watch it eventually one day, but I didn't think it was going to provide any new information that I already didn't know. I've been following wrestling over 30 years, so it's all right.
Sounds good. How about you, Dana?
Well, unlike Adam, I actually watched it.
Oh.
And loved it. And excuse me for crying, even though I have the book and I've been watching wrestling for years. But no, it was very heartbreaking. It was just so sad. And, Ric Flair's at that age now where he just cries at, the win.
They talked about his son?
Oh, yes. It started off with him and high life that he had and how his parents didn't support him and how he was adopted and he never fit in. So it was always constantly trying to struggle to find a place to belong. It talked about him, training with, oh gosh, I forgot who. But anyway, he was training and how hard it was for him to go through that. Then it started talking about the loneliness, the constant loneliness that he feels. So he has to hang around with people. He has to be in bars. He has to be around somebody. And that he never really had anyone that he can connect to except for alcohol. And it talked about how his drinking, he would drink easily 30 shot glasses and it's nothing to him. It's like water, to the point where it became so bad that we already know he was hospitalized and he was almost home and almost died. It talked about his son. It talked about how he died and how the guilt that he constantly feels because he didn't let him stay over in Japan and he brought him back, and he felt that if he didn't do that, his son would be alive today, and how his son was struggling to try to fit in as well. It talked about Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte was a complete mess and crying all over the place, and how she felt that she had to take up the mantle now to make her father and her brother, who's now dead, proud of her. And it kind of felt like she gave up her career in volleyball to a wrestler, and how this wasn't necessarily a dream of hers. It's a dream that she wanted to have for her father. So she's living through her father. And the whole time I'm just wondering, everything that you're doing is not because you want to do it. Everything's for your father. So would you still continue to wrestle just to say, say if Ric Flair passed on, or if you had that opportunity to go back to whatever it was, the volleyball career. So it was just one of those really sad stories where everybody was just trying to make sure that Rick was okay.
Now, the one thing that I did hear that came from it is some kind of controversial comment that Triple H made. That he said something about Rick's son David. He said something. Man.
Yeah, about the test.
That's it. The testing. Yeah, the testing.
What happened was he was saying that Ric Flair was in constant denial, and because it was Ric Flair, they would repeatedly test David. Just make sure that he wasn't, was a false positive. And they tried to really talk to Rick to say that, this is, positive, and that your son really does have a problem. But Rick was so shut down that he wouldn't listen to him at all. So, it just kept saying that Triple H tried everything that he could to help David and to make sure that he was okay.
It's tough. That whole thing was tough, with his son and all that stuff. And I could see that going, as a parent, losing a child and stuff. And of course, you're going to take blame no matter what. You're going to take blame. And if you already have a drinking problem, that just adds to it. Just adds to it. It's heartbreaking. And then, I've heard it before with Charlotte. Whenever she's doing just an open, out of character interview, she says, "Oh, I'm doing this for my dad. I'm doing this for my family." And a part of that's okay, and I respect it. And a part of it, I don't. Because I'm like what you said, Damon. It's like, so if he, passes or whatever, is she gonna say, "Well, I can't do this anymore. This is just gonna keep reminding me of my dad," or is she gonna continue and carry the torch?
Right.
Like I understand what she wanted. She was doing the volleyball and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, how far can you go with that as for a career? Yeah, you can go to Olympics and stuff, but you can't really. I mean, unless you become a teacher, right? It's one of those. It's sort of like Greco-Roman wrestling, those type of things. Yeah, you can make it, but as pretty much as a trainer. I mean, there's no pro wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling. I mean, if you want to go pro wrestling, you go into pro wrestling, which we know. And the only reason why it's called professional wrestling is because you're getting paid for it. So that's why. But it's tough, And the one thing is that I heard, and I remember before they talked about it with her, is that there was people behind the scenes that they knew she was athletic, but they felt she didn't have the look, the diva look, and that it probably wasn't going to work. She didn't fit that mold, but she's great on the mic. She's very comfortable on the mic, and she is daring. She's a better wrestler than her father is, or was. And that's the thing. Like when I'm seeing her, and you've seen it, when she's doing the moonsault off the top turnbuckle outside the ring, are you crazy? And you're throwing yourself on Nia Jax, who's greener than green? Good luck with that. But she does it anyway. What was it? Remember when she did that? Even when they were up near the stairs, and she did that to Sasha Banks. I'm like, your career could end like that in those situations. But she's doing it. She's built a name for herself. When people go out there and they're doing the woo, I think they're doing it not just for Ric Flair, they're doing it for her, because she really is carrying that torch. She's living it up. That's the thing. It's like you see a lot of these kids and they come up from their parents, and it's like, oh yeah, and you remember, yeah, well, they're trying to be better than their father. Or people say they're not as good as their dad or their mom, whatever. And I don't think we've had a female wrestler have a daughter or someone get in, but you get my point. But she's up there. You can't say that she's a hack or she's trying too hard to do something she's not. She's great at what she's doing, and I hope she continues doing it, if something does happen. I mean, she's instant Hall of Famer for the women's division, without a doubt. And it's legit. She deserves it.
Absolutely. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't see the special, but there's one thing I did want to say, and then I'll let go to Ricky if he wants to say anything. I watched SmackDown this past week, and obviously for those that did see it, they know Charlotte won the title. They had her give a speech afterwards and talk about, the struggle it took for her to get that title, and then mention Ric Flair. And then Flair came out there at the end to give her a hug, wave to the fans. Now, Flair looked okay. Obviously, we all know about the incident that he had not too long ago. I don't know if any of you did get to see SmackDown or if you feel similar, but when I saw him with her at that celebration, I thought to myself, I don't really think that Flair going to be around for too much longer. Because of the stuff that he's still dealing with. Nobody really knows to the extent of how severe it is still at this point. And then if you're trying to say that he said he's going to give up drinking. I mean, if he has a serious drinking problem, I don't really, I just, for some reason, I don't think it's going to be something where he's going to be able to overcome that. I want to see him overcome it. But as Dana mentioned, the 30 shots, that's a serious issue. So I hope nothing happens. But when I saw that, that made me think, Flair may not be here maybe a year from now. Who knows? Because he's up there in age, he has these health issues. You just don't know. But I am glad that Charlotte was going to win. I think it was very obvious that she was going to win the title. And we'll just see what comes next from here.
Well, with that mind, wouldn't Jake the Snake would have died decades ago?
Yeah.
He's still hanging on.
He got that DDP yoga.
But see, there you go.
Leg up right now. Look, I can do it right now. Here we go. DDP yoga. Oh.
That's exactly what it was. Hey, listen, DDP saved a lot of wrestlers' lives with his program.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ric Flair will decide to do that. But yeah, I mean, he will have to really make some serious life changes, I think, if he wants to avoid falling back into this situation. But that's just my thoughts.
He needs counseling. That's the best way to get that type of help. But when you're traveling around, if he's back on the road and accompanying his daughter, it's going to be hard to do that. And I remember they were talking about that before. Actually, Jim Ross talked about it. Let's see, he was saying that he talked to Rick, and this is before all this stuff happened and before Charlotte really started getting into the business, and he was depressed because even though he was on that Legend contract, it's basically just to make appearances, but when he wasn't doing that, he was doing nothing, and wrestling was his life, and so where does he end up? In the bar. He's drinking, he's doing those type of things, and so it's like he has to be around the business to keep alive. And I guess that was another thing that maybe Charlotte saw. I was like, you know what? Maybe if I step in the ring, that'll give him more purpose, right? Then he'll come with me, and then we'll be together, and it'll bring that life back into him. Because I mean, it's tough when your life is something athletic like that. You know what I mean? It's like if you let's say you're a writer, or let's say even we're doing this, and we decide to retire whatever we're doing, and we're retired, we can still do this. You know what I mean? But if you're doing an athletic sport like a basketball, any of those things on a big game, or even like wrestling, and then that's taken from you, what do you do? Like, yeah, you can probably talk behind the mic, but then even at that point, you're still like, man, I wish I can get in there. Remember, that was the whole thing with Jerry Lawler. It's like he just can never let go. And that's why randomly we would see him have a match. Remember? They used to do it all the time. He would just jump in there. Oh, he's going to have a match. What the hell? Of course, he gets squashed. It's because he just can't let go. To this day, he still does indie shows.
Yeah, they talked about that in the documentary. He was very honest with it. And Triple H was honest as well. He was saying that the only reason why that he brought him back was because, one, he needed the money. And two, Ric Flair didn't have anything to do. And the more that he just stays stagnant, the less chances he will have of staying alive.
Yeah.
So he brought him back.
Yeah, and it's sad, but that's what you see a lot of this, these guys go through. And it's like, you remember, I mean, we just got to keep going back to that movie. And if you guys watching or listening, you haven't seen it, The Wrestler's a great movie.
Yep.
And it's just about that, a wrestler who's past his prime but can't let go and has health issues, has all these other things going on, just can't let go, and eventually it leads to his end. But it's a great movie. Watch it, even though I sort of spoiled it. My bad.
Oh,
spoiler alert.
But it's great. It's great. But what's funny, I don't know if anybody who's watched that, you've all seen The Wrestler, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when he's living in the trailer park area and he calls the kid, he's like, hey, you want to play Nintendo?
Yeah.
And the kid says, okay, and he goes in. And they were playing with his character in 8-bit form. Did they make a special 8-bit wrestling game?
Well,
just to have him in it?
they did that based off the old WWF WrestleMania game that came out for NES. All they did was they modded the Ram character in to that game. So that's all that was.
I remember watching. I'm like, are we gonna see a Ram Jam type game? This is crazy. But yeah, that was funny. Like, you want to play Nintendo?
Oh, I used to play that game back as a kid. WrestleMania. Yeah.
WrestleMania was good. Tecmo Pro Wrestling, Starman, Malibu. That was a good
Starman, yeah, Starman, Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Remember when he would do the double leg swing and they would just like do that cut animation of just swirling around?
Good times.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll get my thoughts in. I haven't seen the 30 for 30 yet, but I have it recorded. I'm planning on seeing it in the very near future. Did want to comment on a couple things. One being obviously that the 30 for 30 came very close to being a memoriam. You know, given how I personally thought Ric Flair was going to die recently. You know, when he was in the hospital, it sounded pretty bad, and thought it was pretty miraculous that he made it through. I'm glad that he did. Hopefully, he'll be around, you know, for more years to come. But as Rich alluded to, we may not see it. You know, just hope for the best for him. I just thinking back to a couple of things. There was recently when WWE was in UK. Charlotte was on a show with Jinder Mahal. They were promoting the upcoming SmackDown live event, and when I guess Charlotte was asked a question about her career, and one thing that she responded was she said that her wrestling career is a mixed blessing. She wouldn't flat out say that it was something that she absolutely wanted to do. She called it a mixed blessing. I think she fell short of calling it a blessing and a curse. And I think it's because deep down is that, you know, she probably would not have done this if her brother Reed hadn't passed away. You know, she said in many interviews that it was Reed's dream to become a professional wrestler. And because he didn't get to realize that, she stepped up in his place. You know, and this is all for their father. But it seems like Charlotte's kind of living life not entirely on her terms, if this is the case, because like you said, she was like an all-world volleyball player, tremendously athletic, and it's been a blessing for us as fans because Charlotte is already one of the all-time greats as far as female wrestlers go. You know, and such a fit in the industry, such a great asset there. But yeah, it's really unfortunate that if it's not something that she's absolutely 100% into, and it's quite amazing how great she is at it, considering that it's not her dream. And then, and I was just remembering back to one other kind of sad thing regarding Ric Flair was that I remember, I don't know if you guys saw years back, it was one time when Ric Flair, I believe he was drunk during it was a WWE 2K panel at SummerSlam, and he shared that story of burying his son Reed, and that he gave his Hall of Fame ring to Reed in the casket. That he had that buried with him, and that story stood out to me out of that whole thing. Just how sad that is as a father to see your son go like that, and. But I'm glad that Rick is still with us now. Who knows how much longer, but we can just enjoy it for as long as we can. But I definitely will plan on seeing that 30-30 soon, and I recommend that to everyone as well.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely got to check it out. I'll make sure I watch it, you know, if I have some time tonight after Punisher, but we'll see. To be determined. So we're going to move on to the next topic, and then we're going to also get into NXT and SummerSlam. But first, wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. This is also old news, but we do now know that Chris Jericho is going to be facing Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12 which I believe is on January 4th, 2018. So a little bit over a month and a half from now. So what are you guys' thoughts when you heard this announcement? And what do you think that match is going to be like once it actually happens?
I heard about this happening a while ago. Jericho has its own podcast, and he had Kenny Omega on. And they had talked about it, It's like, oh, yeah, it'd be great if we could do a match one day. It's like, hey, anything's possible. And this and this. And I think Jericho knew. He's like, well, I'm going on tour soon. He's going to be out of the WWE. I mean, he could do it. I mean, and plus he's, toward the end of his career when it comes to these type of things. So he has a great reputation with Vince McMahon. He's always talking about that. So I'm sure he called up Vince and said, hey, listen, I have this opportunity to go over there and, do this match. This will be great, to do in my lifetime. And remember, Vince doesn't see anything going on in Japan as a threat. They're always willing to openly advertise that AJ Styles and everybody wrestled in Japan and came from Japan and do all that stuff. So to him, to Vince's mind, no one in the States watches that stuff. So he's like, go ahead. So I'm sure he gave him the green light to do it, because no way Jericho's going to burn that bridge for one match. And so he'll go over there. He'll have this, historic match for himself, something he wants to do. I'm sure they'll put on a great, show. And that's it. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting when he comes out to see what name he uses, though. If he's the Lionheart, if they go through that. Because, he spent a long time in Japan. That's another reason why. He has a history there. And the people love him. They know him. So it's going to be a big match, especially at Wrestle Kingdom, which is like their WrestleMania. So this will be big. And I'm glad that it happened, or it's gonna happen. I'm glad that this was a possible, because we see a lot of these dream matches happening now. You see some of that happened in the UFC recently with some stuff going on there, and now we're seeing it in wrestling. It's like, oh wow, it's weird, like a weird cross promotion, because we know Jericho is not done with the WWE. But heck, maybe there's more behind it that we don't know. Maybe there is some kind of partnership, because right now New Japan is partnered up with Ring of Honor, and they do a lot of those cross promotions. Maybe we might see some of that partnership with WWE, But here's the other thing. I don't know if Vince knows this. New Japan has their own network, and so they have a competing online subscription network, just like WWE Network is, and that's what Wrestle Kingdom is going to be on. I don't know if he knows that, but whatever. It'd be great if they could all work together. That I would love to see that, and then have some of the guys come back and forth and do those type of dream matches, see the Young Bucks come in and do some fun stuff, and, some vice versa, get some guys to go over there. So who knows? Maybe this opens the door, I'm
sorry.
Absolutely. How about you, Dana? Any thoughts?
Well, didn't Kenny Omega say in like a recent interview that it was no way in the world he was coming to WWE and that everyone was below him?
Well, they were saying anytime soon. They were like, oh, you're going to leave and that's that. And he was like, I have no plans anytime soon to do that. And he doesn't. He's doing great things on his own financially and, for his character. Everything's working out. There's no incentive for him to go right now. No reason. If the shit hits the fan in New Japan, then yeah. But right now, he's fine, and the WWE really don't need him. They're having trouble just bouncing out the guys they have now. We don't need him to get lost in the shuffle, and that's exactly what would happen.
Right.
So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I just hope that this just is one of those. Let's just try to make a peaceful gathering and shaking of hands. Of like, yeah, we can work together occasionally. And maybe they could do some cross matches like this where they don't have to come over. Kenny doesn't have to come over. Maybe he'll show up at Royal Rumble, Remember when he would do that? I don't know if a lot of people remember this, but when Royal Rumble, yeah, we always know they have surprises. Recent years there's been guys that used to wrestle, for the promotion come back. But before, it used to be guys that weren't even in the promotion. They would show up, they'd wrestle, they'd do some stuff. Maybe they throw somebody out. Maybe they get thrown out after like 10, 15 minutes, but they were still in it. And like, damn, what the hell happened? Free agent. Guy with another promotion, he's a free agent, allowed to work anywhere. They paid him some money. He showed up at the Rumble. I remember they used to joke. It was part of the gimmick. They would say that if you had $500 and you were a wrestler, then you can jump into the Rumble. They said that's how it worked. And I remember that's how they tried to explain some of these guys that were showing up in the Rumble. only took $500. So I need to save some money at the time, but that's not true. But maybe we could see something like that. That would be amazing. But who knows? I mean, I'm thinking in the future, and I'm thinking that these type of ideas and dream matches and possibilities of cross promotion, or like the way the territories used to be back in the day, where they shared talent. I think that can come back, but I don't think it's going to be under Vince. I think it'll be when Triple H has more control. And if Stephanie and Shane are open to it, I think Shane is, but I think Stephanie is more. She's more on the she's more on the same level as Vince when it comes to the business. You hear a lot of that. A lot of people referring to like she really is like, Game of Thrones. She is the hand, So I think that it might be tough, but her husband's Triple H, and maybe they can work things out and say, all right, we can do a little bit of both. We'll keep up what he likes, but you got to go with some changes. You got to make some changes to grow, and we're seeing that right now. They got so many great talent, and we're just seeing the same big men at the top, and it's upsetting. So there we go. We'll see. We'll see what happens with AJ and Brock. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Wait, so Ricky, you have any thoughts on this Kenny Omega Chris Jericho match?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to kind of expand on was that Vince McMahon did business with All Japan Pro Wrestling back in the day. And it was we had Hogan versus Stan Hansen. That 1990, they had a match then. I think I saw like a picture once of Vince McMahon by the gorilla position, something like pointing out to the ring, and you had Jushin Thunder Liger running out to the ring, something like that. And speaking of him, he was on an NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. What was it? It was the last year or the year before. So it's one of those things where and then of course you had Kota Ibushi being in the Cruiserweight Classic. So it's one of those things where you get these wrestlers from Japan who have a history with New Japan Pro Wrestling, who've come in and maybe dabbled in WWE a little bit, and so
look at Asuka, Asuka.
Yeah, and bringing in Shinsuke Nakamura and all that stuff, and it's like WWE obviously wants to kind of try to capture more of that market a little bit. So I think it would be great if both companies kind of every once in a while had some kind of joint venture, but that could be a bit of a dream thing. But this is pretty close to it as far as Jericho going to Wrestle Kingdom 12 and facing Kenny Omega, especially if Jericho is technically still a WWE company man. I didn't think that I'd be this excited about a Jericho match, but I'm pretty excited, looking forward to this more so than Okada versus Naito, which is a match I've already seen. One thing with Kenny Omega that I want to say is that he's doing great in New Japan. There's no reason for him to rush to WWE. He would definitely get lost in the shuffle. I do find it unfortunate that he didn't win the title off of Okada back in Wrestle Kingdom 11. I was really pulling for him, and that was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. I was really hoping that was going to lead towards a coronation for Omega the following year, but we're getting a match with Chris Jericho, which is pretty cool, but it's not on the same level as getting that title, which I think Kenny Omega's going to have to get before he ever even thinks about leaving for WWE. That's going to be some unfinished business for him.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that the WWE are going to promote this at all in any way?
I don't think so. I would be kind of surprised by that. I think they're okay with just kind of letting Jericho do this thing, but honestly, if they haven't mentioned it already, I just don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't think that they're going to do that. I mean, I can't think of any time that New Japan has promoted a WWE event with one of their guys coming in and all that. So, and I'm sure New Japan's pretty pissed about the way that they lost Nakamura and Anderson and Gallows and
See, and that's
AJ.
what I mean. I'm wondering if this is like a treaty. Like, hey, we're sorry about that. Here, to be nice. Yeah, go ahead, have this. And think about it, because this is not just a house show. This is at their version of WrestleMania. This is going to be on billboards. This is going to be a main event. You know what I mean? I remember like when they lend out Brock over to UFC. Remember? And then the UFC, I mean, at that event, they had promo ads for WWE, the video game, and some other things going on for WWE and their next pay-per-view. They did some of that, and I'm wondering if then we're going to see some of that in Japan. If some kind of deal was made, or was this really just, go ahead, Jericho, go do you. You know? Like, I'm just wondering. It's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, that would be a ton of respect for Jericho if it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, no strings attached. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Feel free to come back when you're ready, because I'm sure that Vince would want to capitalize it in some way, or it could just be a really a stealthy way of kind of infusing WWE into New Japan, and kind of a reminder like, hey, look, see, you got Jericho, who's now a mid-carder on our show. He's main eventing or co-main eventing your show. If you want to see more main eventers, come see WWE. I mean, that's probably me looking way too deep into this. But as you can see, Jericho is a much bigger deal going into this show in Japan than he is on any pay-per-view card in WWE. That's nowadays, But I don't know. It'd be pretty interesting to see if they actually is a little bit of a treaty, like you said. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Because, I mean, let's say he wins. Because he could easily win. They can let him get over him. People are like, oh, no, he's not going to win. You know what? When Vader went against Will Ospreay, when that whole feud happened online, and that actually happened, Vader won. Okay? So it's not like, oh, passing the torch to the young guy. That's too predictable. So I can easily see Jericho pulling it off and winning with the Lion Tamer, old school, foot on the neck. Because it is Japan, hard style. And I could see that happening. Now, if he wins, why wouldn't WWE toot their own horn and say, hey, did you know? Probably not. We didn't advertise it. But Chris Jericho had a match in Japan. Probably won't even say it was against Kenny Omega, but just show a picture of him with his hand raised, and he won his match. We wish him all the best, and we'll see him back here soon.
Yeah, and it could even be a thing where there's some kind of agreement where it's like, we'll let you borrow Jericho, but he's got to go over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so much more. I mean, Jericho was talking about this recently with JR, and he didn't go too much into it. I mean, he danced around a lot of that. They were like, oh, did you tell Vince this and this? And he's like, I didn't make it this far in his business by making bad decisions. So basically, yeah, of course, he told him. But there's got to be more to it. I mean, this is business. You know what I mean? In business, we see a lot of horrible and weird deals happen in business. There's nothing like back in the day. It was like, all right, we spit in the hand, make a deal. You won't. All right, yeah. That doesn't exist. So there's got to be more to it. That
would be just so funny if it's just like this Kenny Omega kid's talking a lot of shit about our company. Let's humble him a bit. Let's send Jericho out there to humble him. That'd be funny.
Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. So, any final thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
No. I'm good.
Okay, Dana. I'm going to give the floor to you because you actually had an opportunity to interview Daniel Bryan and Big Show recently. So, let us know how that experience went.
Yay! First of all, they are very, very nice people, and a lot smaller than they are on TV, which is really weird. But Daniel Bryan, of course, talked about his injury and that he is trying to get clearance from all different types of doctors. He did say that he is going to return. He did not say when. It could be anywhere between now and 2026. He didn't give an indication as to when, but he's very adamant that you're going to see him in the ring again. He talked about how much he's very passionate for it. He loves his job as GM, but there's no other feeling than being in the ring as a wrestler. He's very much looking forward to Survivor Series and how that plays out. He's also very much looking forward to the Kenny Omega Chris Jericho match that's coming up. He expressed his excitement basically for Kenny Omega and the love of Chris Jericho and the respect that he has for him. Big Show talked about, his weight loss journey, how healthy he's becoming, how he can't wait to get back in the ring again as well, and how he still has, even though he's retiring soon, he still has a little bit more to give to the fans, and how he's looking forward to spending his last moments just being happy and, speaking with everyone and just being there in that support system for WWE and for the fans and for the other wrestlers. It was a very positive situation. They talked about how Survivor Series is going to be, a lot of surprises, the regular PR type thing that they talk about, which is everything is positive and you look forward towards the company. And that even though WWE has had a little bumps on the road, that they're working out and it's going to become a very surprising event. Again, I don't know. It's a pay-per-view, so they had to say what they had to say. But it was a very positive interview. And, Brian is just, again, going on and on about how you will see him in the ring.
I don't want to see him in the ring.
And how he talked about, the situation that happened with Kane, when Kane, chokeslammed him, and, how he was all laid up and, had to pretend to be, injured. But he did kind of slightly hint that he might get retribution for that situation if he is able to get WWE clearance. He has clearance from everybody else. It's just WWE. He did also say that he's not going to keep waiting for WWE to give him the okay to get back in their ring. If push comes to shove, he will be in the ring, somebody else's ring, if it's not WWE.
I don't want to see him get hurt.
So I have a comment to make. I also do not want to see Daniel Bryan get hurt, but if I had to make a prediction as to when he should return, or even if it's for his final match with WWE, there is no better time than WrestleMania because it's in New Orleans, the same place he won the title several years ago. That'll be a nice little treat, and that will definitely sell tickets. So WWE should consider that if they do. They currently don't have any other plans for him right now. But yeah, if he gets cleared and if he is able to actually go in there and not, hurt himself within the first 5 minutes of the match, because we don't need to see that. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's true. And then it was also like his daughter. He talked about, even though his daughter is very small, still in the month stages, that it would be nice for his daughter to be there to actually see him wrestle in the ring.
Man.
Yeah.
That's how accidents happen. Shit. Make it stop. I just don't want to hear. I'm telling you, it's like I don't want something bad to happen and then he can't walk. You know what I mean? Then he's got other problems. Then he has memory loss, and he ends up like what's going on with Bret Hart, can't remember shit and all this stuff from concussions. It can get really bad.
I agree.
This is very true, but when you're speaking to him, he has such a passion that it seems like this is something you can't talk him down from this.
And the thing is, the injury. I can see WWE saying, we're never going to clear you, but he can go to whether it's back to go to New Japan or wherever and get injured, and the same thing could happen.
Yeah.
So,
and this is, I think that when we saw that situation with him and Kane, that it was WWE trying to give him that, that little tiny baby step of this is as much as we'll give you. And we hope that you're pleased with this because we really don't want to see you injured. And I don't think that they're keeping him away, to be spiteful. People are genuinely concerned about him.
Man, if this injury, if his concussions were not so severe, he would definitely be wrestling. There's plenty of guys in there who've had bad bumps and stuff, and they're still wrestling. This has to be worse than what he's saying. This has to be. Because they know that he's a draw money-wise, and they're all about making money. So they would easily say, you know what, yeah, we'll put you on special events, we'll treat you like a Brock, we can do that, because we know you're getting over it. You'll sell a bunch of t-shirts. This is fine. They're not doing it because they know something is seriously wrong, so he can look for any doctor he wants to give him the green light, but those doctors don't fully understand the type of bumps he's going to be taking. And all it takes is for some wrong hit, wrong kick, guy goes too stiff with an elbow, and poof, who knows what's going to happen. He might not wake up. He might wake up, forget his name. We don't know. But the whole thing with concussions, for those who don't know, it's just that the brain is wiggling in the skull. And if it's that loose, it wiggles all the time. So now it doesn't take much for it to go out of place and for the person to get severe migraines and memory loss. He even said it. He's had like 8 or 13 concussions, and he said I think it was like 5 or 6 before he even made it to WWE. Look at Corey Graves. Corey Graves, another guy, who had to quit because of concussions. And he says it all the time. He wish he can get in that ring, but he has his family, and he knows that if he goes in there, all it takes is one wrong move, and he is done. And he doesn't want to be that guy.
So I have to ask a question. Pardon me, I hope that you don't laugh when I ask this question. Well, let's say that Daniel Bryan gets into an argument with his baby daughter, and she slaps him across the face. Will something like that cause?
No, it's got to be a hit. Now, if let's say he gets into a car accident, or let's say something severe, it's got to be a severe blow. I mean, if you if you watch MMA or you watch boxing, right, and then there's that term punch drunk, and the whole thing. Some guys, they're like, oh, he doesn't have a jaw anymore. He goes down quick. It's not so much about the jaw. It's that if they've been knocked out before, that's a form of a concussion. They've been knocked out. So if they've had 2 or 3 of these, it's a good chance one good hit is going to knock them out. We had Chuck Liddell, right? Great UFC Hall of Famer, the Iceman, awesome guy. One after another, we started getting knocked out. Then there was one fight he was having, and man, what was his name? Shoot, I forgot his name. But anyway, he was beating this guy up pretty bad. And he went in for the kill right toward the end, and the guy just did one punch, laid him out. And I'm like, what the hell happened? It didn't even seem that bad. It doesn't matter. The brain is already loose. One right hit and you're done. And that's the problem. And then, you get memory loss, you get all kinds of problems, disoriented, headaches and stuff. It stays with you for life. We're seeing that. I'm a big soccer fan. I know a lot of famous soccer players, they're young and they had to quit because of concussions. There's one right now who works for, I'm pretty sure it's ESPN, Taylor Twellman, right? And he played in the national team. He played in for the MLS, had to quit. And people are like, what do you mean? It's a soccer player. Heading the ball, constantly heading that ball. That ball sometimes is flying at your head and you're heading it. That could be equivalent to a big punch to the head. And he was getting headaches. And it was concussions. He was having many concussions. Didn't even realize it.
That's crazy.
There's some people, like you see it with the football and stuff, and there's a lot of people that argue it's like any sport, even if you're running, it can lead to a concussion because of the jukes and the moves and stuff. And yeah, your head's moving, your brain is moving, whatever. But when you're getting punched and getting hit repeatedly, you get swelling, and that swelling builds up space, and then you have other problems that start occurring from the trauma to the head. Just happens. I've had a concussion. I've been knocked out, and I've woken up and I blacked out. I don't remember things. I'm like, shit, what do you mean? Oh, you don't remember? You were on this street. And then, no, I don't remember that. Shit happens. So I really hope he doesn't. I get it. Well, I remember, if you know his backstory, is that right after he graduated high school, he drove over to Shawn Michaels' wrestling academy and signed up. And Brian Kendrick was there too. And that's their connection. They both went through Shawn Michaels wrestling school. But this is all he knows. Literally, like, this is his whole life is dedicated to this. So I get it, why he wants to keep going with it. But you got to think, if he really cares that much about his daughter and all this stuff, this is not like the Goldberg situation. Goldberg he's never had big injuries like this. So he could come back and do something like that. For Brian, this is not a smart move. Even if, let's say, the guy says, don't worry, we'll protect you. We won't go too hard in here. We'll aim at your legs or something like that. It's still risky. It's still risky. So, You know, not everybody is Terry Funk, who's 71 and doing first blood matches. Okay, not that guy. I don't know what he's on or how's he doing it, but he's still doing it. So,
yeah. So I have a quick thing I wanted to mention real quick. Although Ricky, did you want to say something real fast?
You can go first.
Yeah, I just was going to mention that someone in the chat, TWF Blogs and Backyard Wrestling, had mentioned that, you know, if Daniel Bryan does return, that he should go against The Miz because, you know, they still have The Miz teasing the Daniel Bryan moves every time he's wrestling. Would you guys be fine with that if that was who they chose as his opponent? Like if it was like, I don't know, I guess his final match or his return match?
So that was actually what I was going to say. I was going to give a shout out to TWF there for that because that was actually a really cool idea. I was going to go with the kind of a positive and negative, and we're going to start with the positive, that if Daniel Bryan does come back in the ring, that program he had with Miz, that little back and forth on talking smack, was one of the most exciting little subplots of the year.
but remember that goes way back to their NXT feuds when he was his coach. Remember? Yeah. So, and there was legit heat there. There was a lot of legit heat there because, you know, he was the American Dragon. I mean, he had a name for himself in the Indies. And, you know, here it is, The Miz was really talking smack, and it got under his skin. Because remember, that's why they let him go. Supposedly, you remember when he spit in Michael Cole's face? Daniel Bryan spit in his face, and they fired him. They're like, no, forget this. You're gone.
So wait, he spit it. I knew that he choked out
Justin
Roberts.
It was a choke?
He choked him out.
Was it the spit? I thought it was the spit.
No, he choked him out during the NXT invasion.
Okay. All right, so it was a choke. And it was something like that, and then they let him go?
Yeah, what happened was that the Nexus made their debut by destroying the ring and beating up everyone in the ring. And Daniel Bryan's part was getting Justin Roberts' necktie and strangling him with it. And WWE did not like that, so they fired him. But it was really more like a 3-month suspension because they brought him back shortly afterwards. But yeah, so that was what happened with that. Yeah, Bryan and Miz, they go back pretty far, and I think that would be a pretty special match to see those two. That'd be the positive, and of course, in New Orleans would be amazing because that's where Bryan had the best moment of his career. The negative, and I can't shake this off, is I just remember Bryan's last year wrestling. It was a match on SmackDown. He was facing Sheamus.
Yeah.
Sheamus hit him hard. And then when outside the ring, you had Wade Barrett did the bullhammer on Bryan, and he was convulsing afterwards. And I think that was definite, concussion right there. It was a very scary sight. Like he was doing what they call that. God, I'm blanking on the term.
What, he was twitching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do they call that?
A seizure?
Seizure. It looked like he was having a seizure. He snapped out of it a little bit afterwards, but he was definitely shaking, having a seizure, and it definitely messed up his head there. And it's like all it takes is one hit like that, and he'll be a vegetable. So, tremendous risk. But the thing is, I have this feeling with Daniel Bryan, like you said, like this is in his blood. This is what he lives for, and you can't just turn that off. Even becoming a father, I don't think it's something he could just switch off. He's going to go back into wrestling, whether WWE gives him the okay or whether it's with another company. So it's just one of those things. We just have to hope for the best when it comes to that. That's how I think it's going to be.
It's tough. It's really tough, and it's sad. But I mean, I guess you want to compare it with some of the other guys, like we said with Corey. Corey also didn't make it to that level, but I mean, we see other people that had neck injuries and stuff like Edge. But Edge talks about it all the time. He reached the top of the mountain. He was champ. He's won Rumbles. He's won big matches at big pay-per-view events. He's made a ton of money. And I'm sure Bryan had made a lot of money, but he didn't really get to that top level. And that probably bothers him. And it's, you're watching guys that you worked with and doing matches, and I'm sure a lot of them say, hey, we can do a match together. I'll take care of you. I'll watch. You'll be fine. And it's something he wants to do. But again, could be himself taking a bump. Maybe he tumbles out the wrong way, of the ring, or, he takes a bump off the top rope. That's another thing that never helped him, the diving headbutt. Just that was so dumb, and a lot of people say that had a lot to do with it too. But man, I think we all agree. It's like, I don't want to see him come back like this. I don't want to have to worry that every time he's in a match, it could be his last match. That's the last thing I want. I don't want that feeling. And that's what's going to happen. That is exactly what's going to happen if he comes back, because everyone knows his health issues. And everyone's going to be like, oh my God, is he going to take a power bomb? Is he going to take a choke slam? Is something like that going to happen? Do we want to see him get turned inside out or something? You know what I mean? It's almost every main guy on the roster has some kind of powerhouse move, and he's going to have to take it, whether it's an F5 or, a spear or whatever it is. I mean, he's going to take a big bump. Even like you said, like if he talks about he wants to go against Kane, so you got to make sure you don't get choke slams, and whether he tries to go soft on him or not, doesn't matter. He still has to do a flat back, and his head's still going to hit. If he tries to tuck it or not, it's still going to shake, and it's already loose. And that's the sad reality. So I just don't want to see it. I get it. I get why he wants to do it. It's sad. I feel for him, but sometimes you got to walk away.
Yeah, take that feeling that you have of seeing Kurt Angle in the ring and cringing and hoping that he doesn't die in the ring, and multiply that. And you have Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, we'll see what happens. Still a developing story, so see what the future holds for Daniel Bryan. But awesome interview by Dana. Definitely check that out if you haven't checked it out already.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Now we're going to get into the main course meals, if you will. We need to definitely talk about NXT TakeOver WarGames and our predictions for those matches. So first and foremost, I'm gonna go through the card and we can talk about who we think will win. As of right now, I don't know if this is going to change. There are 5 matches planned for NXT TakeOver WarGames. So first match we're going to talk about, Cassius Ohno versus Lars Sullivan. I haven't been watching NXT as of late. I mean, I haven't seen the recent episodes, but I can tell you right now, I guess I know Lars Sullivan, I guess, is somebody who they are trying to push. I don't really know if they have any intent. What's that, what?
He's big. He's strong. He's a big dude. He's got an amazing chin that just doesn't look real, like a prosthetic.
Oh, he's strong. Okay. Big, strong. Strong
big,
guy.
Strong. Yeah.
They got to have it. So he has to look good. So, I think Lars Sullivan definitely, will win. I don't think they have any plans to Cassius Ohno. I mean, I guess you say he lost a little bit of weight, I guess. I mean, last time I saw him, he's a little bit slim.
He's still the same.
Okay.
I think he's still the same. But that's all right, though, because he knows how to use his weight. That's the thing. And they call him a big man. They say, oh, he's a big man. They're embracing it now. So they're like, oh, he's a big man. Yeah, he's not a light guy, and he can still move like this and stuff. So they've embraced it.
Absolutely. Now, we'll see. So I say Lars Sullivan. What is your pick, Dana?
Gotta go with Sullivan as well.
Okay. How about you, Ricky?
Yeah, I'm going with Sullivan.
All right, and Adam?
Gotta go Sullivan. He's going to be the DLC for 2K18. You might as well go with it. Yeah, he's one of them. So, I mean, they want to help sell that game. I'm sure they'll pop up, hey, this is one of the guys you'll be able to get. So there you go. Yeah, no, they're making him look strong. And he's legit. I mean, he definitely is a powerhouse. He picks up these guys like they're all like 100-pound bags. I mean, he just picks them up, throwing them around and stuff. So yeah, I see him going over. But I think it's going to be a good match. And that's the thing with this. NXT don't do squash matches for these shows. They put on top-notch matches, from the bottom to the top. and I love it. That's why I think the highlight of the weekend is going to be this takeover. So I say, yeah. So,
I agree. I agree with what you say. However, I will say this. I think that this next match is going to be a squash match, and that is, of course, Dana's favorite NXT performer, the Velveteen Dream versus Aleister Black. Aleister Black is going to destroy this guy. So that's my prediction. Dana, how about you?
Aleister's gonna win. Stop saying
but Dana, how cool is it when they do that weird camera shot where they'll show Aleister just standing there, and then you just see Velveteen just stand up right behind him.
It's so ridiculous.
It is so ridiculous. I love it. Every time I see it, it reminds me of like a cheesy horror movie. It's like, he's behind you. He's just, do you know what we're talking about? You gotta, man.
I gotta see it.
Yeah, he does it. He does it. So he just like pops up, as if like he was crouched behind him the whole time. It is so funny to see. But that guy Velveteen is entertaining. He's entertaining.
I'll say this: I'm glad that Patrick from Tough Enough is actually getting in some of these storylines now. But we already know Aleister Black is the real deal.
Yeah.
So he has to.
Well, you see, it's tricky with this because, like you said, it seems so obvious. I mean, the whole thing is that, he refused to acknowledge Velveteen. He thinks that he's not even a real contender. He doesn't ball. That's why he didn't want to wrestle. He was like, no. And he said, I'm going to make you say my name. And he's doing all these mind games and stuff. So I think he's going to find a way to win. I think he's going to screw over Aleister Black because Aleister Black is still undefeated. And they're going to build a feud. I don't think this will be a one-off. I want Aleister Black to win, but I think if they want to prolong this into a feud, you can't have him win. You got to have the other guy cheat or do something to get a win. But that would be my prediction. I think Velveteen. I'll find some way to cheese and win.
That's shocking. Coming from one of the biggest.
I'm a big fan. Damn right. I think he's the man. But I think this is the closest. He hasn't had a legit feud in NXT. This is it. All the other little ones that he's had, with what's his name? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. The Japanese guy.
Hideo Itami?
Hideo.
Yeah, Hideo. Like when he had with Hideo and stuff, that didn't really carry over. Nothing really carried over. And then he was going against whoever came in, Bobby Fish and everybody, Kyle O'Reilly. He did matches and one. This is like a legit feud, like story-wise feud. And he said very little. It's almost like the Undertaker approach. It's like somebody else trying to get in his face to make themselves seem relevant, which is the Velveteen. So I think it's going to be fun. And I'm looking forward to that match. If they did a squash, that would suck because Velveteen is legit. I mean, he's been having regular matches and he's destroying people. He's good, and it works. He's a big guy. He's a big, strong guy too. So this should be fun. But yeah, surprise to everybody. But I think Velveteen cheats. I think he does a heel move and he finds some way to win this one and steal a win.
Okay. How about you, Ricky?
I think Aleister Black's gonna win that. It would be quite a shocker if Velveteen Dream pulled off the upset. It'll be Aleister, but I don't think it's gonna be a squash. I think you're gonna, Velveteen's gonna get some offense in there, make it a little bit competitive. We might see like a 10-minute match or something like that. But I don't think it's gonna be a straight up squash. If it is going to be prolonged, it could be a thing where Velveteen chickens out and gets himself counted out or gets himself disqualified, and that would allow for another match to happen where it's let's settle this, that kind of thing. But I think Aleister Black is going to win, continue his undefeated streak. I think it's pretty cool to see how far Patrick has come along. Remember him from Tough Enough, and I thought from very beginning he was the standout of that show. And we saw the people who won, and they haven't done shit. So, that Josh guy or whatever, he was let go recently.
Is that the guy that won? Remember the guy that won Tough Enough?
Yeah,
the new one, they let him go too, right?
yeah. The what do they call him? What was his nickname for himself? He was the like the Wookiee or whatever. Like the he would do that like Star Wars character. Why the fuck am I blanking on the name? Chewbacca, like the Chewbacca thing,
Chewbacca.
whatever.
Wait, we're not talking about the not the 19-year-old kid.
No. This was the big,
The big dude, yeah,
like,
yeah, big
like
dude.
the white Roman Reigns. Like, he was big.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
had
yeah.
long hair and tattoos and muscular. He won, and the Sarah Lee chick, I think, won, but they're both out of the company now. Patrick, who got eliminated way too soon, I thought was the best guy on the show. He was natural, and it's showing. The cream rises to the top, and I'm glad to see that they're going to start to feature him more. And Aleister Black, that's a good program for him. I hope they continue it. But I think Aleister comes out on top in this one.
I just want to say one final thing before we move on to the next match. Not only do I think Aleister Black will win this match convincingly, I think that what you're going to see is WrestleMania. I meant to say not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. If not WrestleMania, he's going to be in that NXT title match. Unless they decide to just move him prematurely and just send him to the main roster. But I think he's going to be in the NXT title picture starting next year. Because he's been there for a while. But we'll see. Okay, let's move on to the next match. Next match, we have... oh, wait, almost lost track of my notes here. We have, yes, speaking of the NXT title, we have Drew McIntyre defending his NXT title against our guest tonight, Andre Cien Almas, with Zelina Vega. Now, we spoke about this match briefly right before we started recording. For some reason, I don't really think that, I know Drew McIntyre is going to lose that belt eventually. I don't think he's going to lose it yet. I don't see him losing it to this guy. But as you guys mentioned, with the previous match with Velveteen Dream and then that feud being extended, I do see this happening in this particular match. If they feel that they want to have Almas, have him stay with this guy a little bit longer before they move on to someone else, I could see that happening. And they have a rematch at the next TakeOver. But I say Drew McIntyre is going to win this match, if I had to make a guess. How about you guys? How about you go first, Ricky?
I am going to say that I am not going to win this match and win the NXT title. No, I think Drew is going to retain. I think that his destiny is to drop it to Adam Cole later on.
Well, okay, you know what? That's good. Okay, since you brought that, I have to ask this question. Why is Adam Cole not in this match? Because I know he's facing Drew McIntyre. Actually, maybe it was tonight. Because they had other NXT live matches. He's in a match with this guy.
They're prepping him for the big matches, but right now, because he's set up for the WarGames.
They're in the WarGames, and that's going to be part of that's on the card as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
They're saving that match.
Yeah. They're doing those test run matches in the house shows to get reactions and to get these guys, familiar with working with each other and stuff. So, get that chemistry up. So when the big feud happens on TV. What was it? The famous quote from Hogan. He was like, to the universe or to WWE fans, I only body slammed Andre twice or something, but I've done it like 50 nights or something in a row. Like he was constantly body slamming him. So, yeah, it'll happen.
We'll see. All right. So, who is your pick, Dana, between Drew McIntyre and Almas?
Almas. I think he has to, he has to win. He has to. Drew has been very successful, and that's really great. And then, Almas doesn't really appear to be that much of a threat, but I think to shake things up, he's going to win. Not Drew, Almas, sorry.
Hey, it's possible. And how about you, Adam? I think I already know what your choice was.
Yeah, I think Almas will win this one.
All right, we definitely gonna have a conversation about this after we watch it live.
Think about it though. He's a company guy. He's won them. He's lost them. You know, he's lost big matches at these takeovers, and then at the next NXT show, he wins clean. You know what I mean? Plus, they gave him a manager. Whenever they give a manager to somebody, they're going up. They're only going up. And he's got that girl with him, and she's talking, she's doing everything. She's not just a ballet to look pretty. She's his mouthpiece. And that tells me she's helping him, he's moving up the ladder. So I think he's going to get this title, you know, and they'll figure something else out. They'll build. I have a feeling. I mean, from the history, they've never attached a manager to somebody that they didn't have hopes of moving up, whether in that promotion or out. I mean, look at Authors of Pain. You know, they have their manager and they're doing big things. And every time there's a manager involved, big things happen. So I have a feeling he'll win.
Good points. We'll see. Yeah, very good points. Okay, next up we have, this is going to be, I think, one of the matches, well, next to the actual WarGames match. I think this is the match everyone's looking forward to, and that is the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce with Billie Kay. So here's what I think. I think that Ember Moon and Kairi Sane are going to have a feud at some point, and this is probably the beginning point of that. If I had to make a choice of who was going to win, man, I have no idea. It can go any way. I think Ember Moon, I wanted to see her win it off of Asuka, but they decided we're not going to do that. So Kairi Sane, possibly, but I'll go with Ember Moon. Maybe she'll win it. I mean, who knows? What do you guys pick?
Sanity check. I'm drawing a blank.
Nikki Cross?
Yeah, Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross. I give it to Nikki Cross. I give it to her. You know, I mean, she's a hard worker. Again, she's put in her time. She's put in her time. She's had some big matches. You know, and I think she should get the title. Give her the title. Give her a good run with it. You know, because I don't see her staying there much longer before they move her up. You know, if there's one thing that the main roster, or the SmackDown or Raw women's division is missing, is that craziness, that aggressiveness. And she brings that. You know, she's very different, you know, and she can back it up. She's a powerhouse. So I think she'll win it. You know, they'll give her time with the belt.
That's a good pick, good explanation. How about you, Dana?
Ember, obviously. The sad thing is about Peyton, I don't really care about her. So I don't see her doing anything at all. But it's Ember or Nikki Cross, those two. I really do like Sane. I think that she's like, you know, a good third maybe choice, but it's really between Ember and Nikki Cross. But I'm going to have to go with Ember Moon.
Interesting. Yes, interesting. Okay, how about you, Ricky? Who's your pick?
No, like as of right now, I'm not entirely sure either, because like I could even see maybe Peyton Royce getting it with some help from Billie Kay, and then having this thing where Billie Kay just keeps helping Peyton retain up until the point that Billie decides, okay, now it's my turn to go for the belt, and then they have them kind of feud each other. But I don't think that those two are, you know, significant enough on the roster to leapfrog the other three in the title picture. I feel as though it's going to be Ember Moon. That's my feeling. That it's going to be Ember Moon. She came the closest to ending Asuka's reign, and she's put in the work. And to me, she's the top one by default right now. Kairi will get it. I think we'll get it at some point. I don't think they can just give it to her right away. I don't, you know, and part of this is me thinking from the perspective of that the company might not want to go with, you know, oh, let's give it to another Japanese woman after we just took it off one other. You know, it could be a stereotype thing there, but they might be thinking, let's not go from one to another. It's better to let Kairi kind of build more familiarity with the fans before she gets her title run. But Ember Moon's pretty much earned this opportunity, I think, and I think she'll get a chance to run with it. I wouldn't mind seeing Nikki Cross win it because I enjoy the heck out of her as well. So I'm going to say Ember Moon. I might be pulling for Nikki to win it, but we'll see.
Absolutely. We'll see. Good picks. We'll see what happens. And, of course, we have the main event. This is the match that everybody will be talking about, the WarGames match. We have the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong versus Sanity and the Undisputed Era, which is Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm going to go ahead and say right now, obviously Adam Cole and company will win this match because...
Whoa, slow your roll, Nitro.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, wait a second.
Is that your pick? Is that your pick, or you just automatic?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I think it's important to you have to make these guys look good. I mean, they made a big deal about these guys interfering in the last NXT event. So I think if you have them have this match and lose this match, I don't really think that does anything for them moving forward. Now, obviously, they could have them lose, and then they can give Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly tag title shots, and they win the belts on another NXT show, whether it's a taping or the next takeover after this one. But I think they made a big deal about these guys in the impact they made last time. I feel like they have to win it. But one thing I will say is it really is between them and I think Authors of Pain, because I have a feeling that Sanity might get called up. One of those teams between Sanity and Authors of Pain is definitely going to get called up on the main roster soon. I think Sanity will be a little bit more interesting because they have that whole gimmick where, this will give the main roster a chance to recreate something with the Wyatts because, the Wyatts are pretty much done now. But that's just my opinion.
Bludgeon Brothers.
That's gone. They scrapped that.
Oh no, they did a
for real? I just saw a promo with them like this past week.
I could have swore because I saw they were posting videos, people at a house show where they were just saying, their real names.
Oh no, it said on SmackDown.
They weren't using that. They still doing it. All right.
Yeah, SmackDown. It said next week they're making their debut. So we'll see. No, Adam. So Adam, who was your pick for this match?
Oh, well, I think they're going to win, undisputed, but I have a feeling it's going to be because of Roderick Strong. I think he's the hidden piece there because, he came out a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago and, he threw the armband at them. No, I'm not joining. And then he said he's joining up with Authors of Pain. They threw him into that match, Authors of Pain. But once you're in that cage setting, I think he's going to switch. And that's it. And he's going to help them win. So they're going to win and they're going to be a dominant force, for at least the remainder of 2018. And yeah, Sanity will probably come up, but then I could see Authors of Pain coming up, So both of them are qualified to come up. I don't know what's going on with that heavy machinery. The guy's doing the worm and all this weirdness is happening. So that's throwing me off. But yeah, for this match, I think they're going to win. Because I have a feeling the plan is to keep them there for a while, and then do what they do best. Have some great matches. Let Adam Cole do some great promos, and it'll work out. And they need to do something with Roderick Strong, because right now they're not doing much with him, So it makes perfect sense. And if no one sees this swerve coming, then they haven't been watching wrestling that long because this looks very obvious that it's going to happen. And plus the past that they have, and they always, especially with NXT, you get a lot of wink and a nod to the hardcore, wrestling audience that watches other promotions, and this is one of them, because everybody knows their connection with him, so they're like, oh, it's definitely going to happen. Even when I don't know if you've watched it, but when he threw the armband off at him, people were booing. They're like, boo! And usually when there's a heel faction and they're trying to recruit the baby face, they're always like, don't do it, no! Everybody, when he's like, join us, they're like, yay! They were cheering them. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? And it's because they know. So I think it'll happen. And then there's a few reviews coming too, and I have a feeling we might see some of that. there's a few guys that they signed that we still haven't seen. And TakeOver usually they throw little surprises here and there, so we might see some of little sprinkles. But yeah, that's my pick.
That's good. That's good. Good point. Okay, Dana, who is your pick for this match?
Okay, before I say who my pick is, I just want to say that it has been 17 years since we have seen WarGames, WCW version. Of course, there's been other spinoffs, CZW and other places, but it's been 17 years. And I'm already still pissed about them changing the cages, but that's all right. That's fine. I will say that it's a hard choice, but I am going to go towards... Oh, gosh, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to go say Authors of Pain. Yep, that's who I'm saying.
Wait, what was it that you said that you were pissed about them changing?
I'm changing that the original WarGames, as everyone knows, was the cage with the top.
Yep.
And took it off. So it's going to just be a regular cage, 2 cages, like a cage match situation.
Oh, so it's open top?
It's open, and it's pinfall. So I'm extremely pissed about that. I understand, as Adam explained, why they did that, but for me, it's been 17 years since I've seen a WarGames, so it would have been nice if they would have at least paid tribute this one time to how it originally looks and how it goes, and then later on, if they decide to bring it back in 2018, then, do whatever you want to do, your own spin-off of it, but it's just disrespectful, in my opinion. But we already know that WWE has no respect for WCW. But, I'm going with, what did I say? Authors of Pain.
Interesting. Okay.
Wait, real quick. What were the ways of winning this one? Did they change it? It's just pinfall now, or do they have to climb out?
Oh.
It's pinfall, so.
And it's pinfall anywhere, so they can go out of the cage.
Okay. And I think it's going to be all right. I think the fact that it's open like that, I think if they do high spots, they can do them from there to work out. I mean, I talked about it before. It's just when you have the lid and certain arenas, they just can't elevate the cage. So it just makes sense that they can just build everything up when it's just the sides as opposed to the lid. And I think that's the main reason for doing it this way. But I think it'll still work out. It's still the 2 rings together, and it's still going to be an interesting spectacle, especially for those who are just part of the WWE universe and don't watch other promotions or haven't seen WCW back in the day, those pay-per-views when they did WarGames. They did a lot of crazy gimmick matches, and this was one that I was like, oh, wow, this might work. So when I heard that this was coming back, and it was funny because I was texting, Richard, remember I texted, we were talking about Survivor Series or something, and I was like, man, if only they brought this back, then it's a real Survivor Series. Have both teams, and there's 2 rings in this cage. And then, like, a few weeks later, they announced it, not for Survivor Series, but for TakeOver. I'm like, wow, look at that. There you go.
That's true, yeah. Remember that, yeah.
Yeah,
So, Ricky, who's your pick?
Well, before I get into that, I was going to mention that not only was WarGames a WCW creation, it was a Dusty Rhodes creation. So it's a little odd that they've already done their own interpretation of it, but I don't know, I guess maybe that's their little tribute to him, to have it on NXT.
No, it's still disrespectful. Now you're disrespecting Dusty Rhodes. I'm still angry about this.
I don't know, I'm just trying to rationalize it a little bit, but yeah. Oh, I hear you. But yeah, as far as who's gonna win, I guess I wasn't totally sure until I heard you guys, and I really like Adam's prediction of Roderick Strong kind of turning heel and joining the group after all. It makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna say Ring of Honor wins it. Yeah. I'm calling them Ring of Honor. I'm not fucking calling them Undisputed Era. They're Ring of Honor.
I hate that. Undisputed. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah, so let me just make a quick comment before we move on. I did see that once again, Backyard Wrestling in the chat did mention that he thinks Tommy is actually going to be the other member of Undisputed Era. But I mean, I thought that Tommy was going to
205.
205.
That's what they said. That was a plan. I think that's still going to happen. We'll see.
Well, I'm pretty sure after he saw what happened with Austin Aries, he may say, you know what? No, I think I need to let my contract run out and leave WWE. But we'll see.
He's still getting paid. I don't think he took a pay cut or anything. He has a multi-year deal. That was a pretty big contract that they gave him to bring him over. Because people understand, he was a huge star in Japan. A lot of the big moves that we see now, especially the ones that Finn's doing, and of course CM Punk, Go to Sleep, that's all his creation. He was innovating a lot of new moves. It just sucks when he shows up here and people see it. And I think that's always the big fear, and maybe the fear of if they were to bring him to the main roster, that he would do the Go to Sleep and everyone would just start chanting CM Punk, and
that'd be perfect.
And would it be perfect? I mean, they're trying to distance themselves from that, and then it was like, here's the guy. How do you pitch that? It's like, hey, he created this move. This is his move, and Punk was using it here because, this dude was in Japan, but now he's here. So what do you do? I mean, the foot stomp and the kick to the corner, sending the guy flying and stuff that Finn does, that was all him too. And he does that, and when people see it now, I don't think they get the same reaction like Finn's getting, and it's sad. But
I'll just say this: no disrespect to Utami, but you might not have to worry about him making it to the main roster, because if he doesn't stay healthy, he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Too many injury issues, all this other stuff. So we'll see. But no, some good picks all around. Any other thoughts to say about TakeOver before we move on to the main event, which is Survivor Series?
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, but no. Well, you say disrespectful, but my last comment is I think this is going to steal the show for the weekend, like usual. Last TakeOver, same thing. I have a feeling this TakeOver is going to do. Remember that TakeOver tag match that they had? Remember with DY, the do-it-yourself guy?
Oh, yeah, and with Ciampa turning.
Yeah, and Ciampa, yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was awesome. And nobody thought anything of it. They were like, little guys versus big guys, blah, blah, blah. That turned out to be an amazing match. And I have a feeling this is going to do the same, because all these guys are hungry. All these guys want to make a name for themselves. They're going to have the time. They're in the main event. They're in the main spotlight for this match type, especially for a lot of people, like I said, that have never seen this gimmick before. And I'm sure they're going to put on one hell of a show, and regardless if they suck, this is going to go down in history just because it's the first time this match type has been used in WWE. So they have to go big on this. You have to go big. And then it'll make it into 2K19. Yeah.
And then they'll take out the Royal Rumble in 2K19. So.
They'll make that DLC. Oh,
possible. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, I do agree. It is going to probably be the best thing of the weekend. But we'll see what happens.
But NXT, their pay-per-views are always the best thing. They can wrestle in cardboard boxes, and it'll be the greatest thing we've ever seen. Especially compared to what they're doing with WWE main pay-per-views.
Well, I agree, but this time around, there actually are some matches on this Survivor Series card that I think are going to be. They have a chance to be very good. We'll see, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's jump right into Survivor Series. We got about 8 matches that they're going to have. So this is not going to really warrant a major discussion. We have Enzo defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Kalisto. Obviously, the plan is to have the focus remain on Enzo, so I say Enzo wins this. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'll probably put on Enzo. I mean, it's one of those things we talked about it before. It's like he's just good on the mic, and do we want to see him wrestle? No. Do we want to see his matches? No. I'm actually tired of all his promos and all that stuff. He's just a bunch of one-liners, and it's fun every once in a while. But when you have to do a full shoot promo like that, it gets annoying, after a while. I mean, the best that I've seen so far was when he just shot everyone down. Remember when all the 205 guys surrounded him and he went up to each one of the faces? Blah, 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 blah. That was great. But it's like, where do you go from here with this guy? I mean, he can't really do much in the ring. I mean, unless he works at it. But from what I'm hearing and from his own mouth that he's talked about, he doesn't care that he's not liked by the guys. He knows that he doesn't share the locker room. He talks about it all the time. He doesn't share the locker room backstage with them. You know, he knows they don't like him, whatever. He goes up there, he does his business, and then that's it. He's there for a paycheck. And that might work at some jobs, but when you work in a carnival setting, which is what WWE is, it's traveling circus, a carnival, you know, it's tough. It's tough to live that life and everyone not like you. That's why they had talked about it before, JBL and other ones. Like, people usually don't make it in the biz. They eventually leave. You know, they'll make it outside. He could definitely make it somewhere else. I mean, for a while, but it gets to a breaking point. You know, imagine going to work every day at your job and no one wants to talk to you. You know, it's like there's only so much of that you can take. Yeah, you're getting paid, but till you're like, you know what, I could probably do this somewhere else and maybe have a better environment. You know, so it's tough. But right now, I mean, he has to ride that wave. It's the gift for the gap that's getting him to where he is now. It's definitely not his in-ring performance, and that's the other reason why the whole issue with Neville and other issues that people are having. It's just like 205 when it launched was known for the high flying. Here's the crazy cruiserweights from around the world all together that you've been wanting to see, and we're seeing it. And then you give the belt to this guy who can't do any of that crap. You know, and all he does is talk them down, and it's just, and his finisher makes no sense whatsoever. I still don't understand what that does, because it's like you're pulling the arm and you're putting the foot to the neck. Like, is it supposed to dislocate the shoulder? Is it supposed to do that and hurt the arm? Or is it, what are you doing? You're not really kicking the guy in the head. It's stupid. It looks horrible. And then the guy has to sell it like he's been knocked out. Doesn't make sense. But whatever.
I agree. It doesn't make sense at all. That's why I always ask you, what the hell is that finisher?
Yeah, what is that? It looks so bad. But that's what he has. And that's what we're watching right now. But yeah, I guess Enzo. What are you gonna do?
I just will make a quick comment, then I'm gonna move on to Dana and.
Wait. There's supposed to be a running. Oh, what's his name?
Oh, running.
They just hired a guy from Impact.
Oh, they interfere in this match.
Oh, what's his name?
Well, while you look.
Keep going.
Yeah, while you look for that, I'll just say this real quick. I honestly think when they had Enzo, when they had Neville and you had Austin Aries in this division, I thought the division was fine. It was on the rise. Now I don't really care about it now because you got Enzo in there. You have no other talent around him that you can use. You know, when they had that whole thing where they talked about, oh, well, now there's a new person to challenge Enzo, and they talk about Kurt Angle comes out and say Koalition. I was like, come on now, man, what the hell is this shit? So I'm not I don't really care about the 205 division. I would hope that somebody does come in there to make it better, but I don't have too much faith in what they're doing with that now. They did a lot better when they had Austin Aries and Neville, and they messed that up. So that's just my opinion.
Man.
So Adam, I'm gonna say Ricky, who is your pick?
It's gonna be Enzo. I mean, they're gonna have him, you know, keep the damn belt for a little bit longer. You know, it's the whole thing of, you know, make the champion be super annoying and have the good guys chase the belt, you know, because it's more interesting than having a good guy hold the belt for a while or some shit like that. It's a typical thing, and I was gonna say that the Jadunzo, whatever that finisher is called, like, I'm trying to rationalize what it does. I think it's just like guy lands and he uses kind of the force, like the whole idea is that when Enzo hits the ring, the impact of that with going to the head is supposed to make the guy fall back, but really it's not really believable. If you ever tried that yourself, you're the one getting hurt more than the guy you're doing it to, like, by far. There's just no impact on that. So I don't know. I can kind of see what they're trying to do with it, but it's weak. But Enzo's keeping the belt. I did want to comment that I don't know if you guys saw the TMZ video of Enzo. He was leaving a nightclub or something like that, and he was talking about, you know, he had the belt with him, and he was talking about, like, that's his precious, that's his boo, and all this other stuff, and saying, like, oh, I don't need to be in the locker room. I have my own locker room, and he, it sounded like he was cutting a promo there, but it's it's like that could be just who he is. Also, he could just be that, much of a guy like that. I honestly don't know, but yeah. We're really seeing what all these what do you call it, dirt sheets are saying about him be alienating the locker room. He's pretty abrasive, I guess you could say, and all that stuff. It makes it very interesting looking back. All the stuff about Big Cass saying like Enzo's mouth getting him in trouble. He may have been work shooting when he said all that. So yeah. I think I come up with something better, but it's going to be Enzo for now.
Real quick, Rockstar Spud, that's his name. And I posted over. Anybody watching, listen, Rockstar Spud, who was in Impact, they signed him, and he's supposed to pop up at 205. That guy can work.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so if they put him in, this will be the best possible spot to put him in, where everyone's watching. It's a big pay-per-view event. And they want to spark some new life. And he's a small guy, and he's really good in the ring, and on the mic. And so, poof, there you go. And he has a lot of charisma, and that's what they need to compete with Enzo. So.
One other thing real quick, I did see once again Backyard Wrestling in the chat did mention Crazy Steve also is a
Crazy Steve signed a long time ago. Yeah, he's been there for maybe like 4 months, I want to say. They signed him a long time ago. He's the crazy one that looked like a crazy clown. He was like an upgraded crazy clown doink type in Impact during the whole the broken Hardys and all that stuff. It was awesome, and they signed him, and he broke that news himself on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, I signed with WWE, and this and this and that." Sure enough, it was real, and that's it. That's the last we heard. Now I hope they use him with that crazy gimmick, because from what I understand, he owns that. That was his thing, even when he was on the Indies doing stuff before that. So hopefully that works, or they could just modify it, still do a crazy clown. But he knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. He knows how to sell that gimmick. So who knows? But yeah, that would be another one. There you go. Yeah, he's right. Crazy Steve. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, Dana, who was your pick?
Common sense befalls the land of WWE, and Enzo loses. Monday, he gets his release.
Man, smoking the crack rock.
No, that would never
happen. Not happening. Ooh, Dana's losing it tonight.
But since that
Roman Reigns turns heel, and
man, the lights go out. The lights are back on. Sabu's in the middle of the ring, pointing up.
That's a good one. We'll see about that. I'll be looking for that for sure.
No, Enzo will win because merchandise and money.
Yeah, and Enzo is good on the mic. That's what they say.
Can't teach that.
Is it me? Like, I'm genuinely concerned that this man is like involved in some type of illegal substances every time he talks.
Why?
He doesn't make sense of whatsoever.
It's his rambles, but that's what I'm saying. He's just a bunch of one-liners, so he's just trying to string things along. Some of it sounds thought out, and others sounds like he's just shooting from the hip.
That sounds thought out to you?
Sometimes. When he went on that rant where he was attacking each 205 guys, which was like, I don't know, a month or so ago, he had to have tried to memorize that. I mean, you can't just spit all that off the top of your head. If he did, then he deserves a spot, because that was amazing.
Since you mentioned that again, I just want to say that is the perfect example of the storyline stupidity that they have, because the week after that, now all of a sudden, he's friends with the heels that he criticized beforehand.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any kind of sense.
was lame.
It's like that. But you know what? I'm telling you, that's just real life. We see in politics all the time right now. That's just how it works, man. You gotta play the game, you know. And then I remember when the first guy that jumped over to become his buddy, and he's like, "Why you want to be my friend now?" And he's like, "Well, you know, I didn't really attack you, and no one likes me either." And I'm like, "All right," and that's it. That's how they could just squeeze it in there. You know, it's like they're heels. That's what they do. They flip flop.
So, Adam, are you telling me that it's all about the game and how you play it?
Damn right, it's all about the game and how you play it. And that's how you hog the spotlight. Why the hell is he in this match? Whatever. Keep going.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to get to that soon. We're going to definitely get to that soon.
It's also about control, and if you can take it.
Yeah. Damn.
See, all about the depth and if you can pay it.
There you go. You guys are spitting the truth right there. The tattoo right there. Put that on my back.
Yes, this is what's best for business, Adam. We have to remember that.
Is it really? Is it really? Because I don't think anyone's like, damn, Triple H is on. I gotta see it. No.
Oh yeah, of course.
He's not Undertaker. He is not Undertaker.
Triple H.
We'll get to that.
Not even Jason Jordan. Put in Bray Wyatt. Why did they kill him? Is it because of the bumps? Is that why? You get a little cootie and then now you're banned from big main event matches?
Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that because I do have something to say about that. All right, let's go to the next match. We have Cesaro and Sheamus going up against the Usos. Now, I will say this: when they made the decision to take the belts off of Dean and Seth, I wasn't really a fan of that. But I have to admit, I'm kind of interested in this match only because of the physicality that I know that will be in this match. The Usos, they're good when they have those titles. They've been better than New Day, in my opinion. So I'm glad that they had them go over New Day. But I think this could be an interesting match because, again, Cesaro and Sheamus are pretty heavy hitters. So this is an example of a match where you look at it on paper, you're like, I don't really think this is going to be all that great, but I think it could be better than what people are expecting. I think I don't really know. I don't really know who could win this one. I would say Usos, maybe. I don't really see Cesaro and Sheamus. I don't know what they would gain from this victory. But I'll go with Usos. How about you guys?
Yeah, Usos.
All right, Ricky.
I'm pulling for the Usos, but I think it's going to be Cesaro and Sheamus that win.
Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, Dana.
I'm the only one who loves this pairing. And they both have personality. I'm getting tired of Cesaro talking because I don't understand what he's saying a little bit right now. But I'm going to have to go with the Usos.
There you go. All right. Sounds good. Next up, we have Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair. We've already spoken about Charlotte a little bit earlier in referencing her dad. I feel like Charlotte will win only because, well, she is a little bit more athletic than Alexa Bliss, but I don't know. There could be some interference in this. I don't really think that's going to be the case. So I think Charlotte does win because we saw the whole Under Siege thing turn out where, once again, Raw was the one to initiate the attack. And we saw, and I did see Alexa Bliss knock out Charlotte. They made sure to emphasize that. So I feel like Charlotte will win now. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think Charlotte will win.
There you go.
Yeah,
Adam?
Charlotte, yeah.
All right, Dana.
Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte. You got the whole Ric Flair situation. She's doing it for her dad. Plus, she's a better wrestler out of the two of them. I like Charlotte. And she just won the belt. It doesn't make any sense for them to take the belt off of her.
Well, yeah, it's not for the belt, though. This is just a champion.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bragging rights type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
That's all right. You're good.
CTE action happening here. So, yes, non-bragging rights, whatever. Charlotte, she's better anyway.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. This next match here, I have to say, the promos alone make me very excited to see it. The Miz versus Baron Corbin. because they had those little promos that they had. And once again, trying to take shots at each other. Honestly, The Miz is great at what he does, but The Miz is used right now to put others over. So obviously, Baron Corbin, that's the person who I think is going to win this match. How about you guys?
Man, I don't know. This is one I really don't care about. It's like whether Baron or The Miz. I mean, I want Baron. It's time for just the younger guys to move up. That's it. It's like you said, The Miz gets involved, but I just want to see Baron get his time. You know, get up there, win some big matches. You know, he deserves it. He's good. He's worked hard. So I'll go Corbin on this one.
Absolutely. Just to let you know, a little bit of static on your microphone. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know.
That happened before. It's all good. Ricky, who is your choice?
I think I'm gonna go with Corbin because I think he needs to push a little bit more than Miz does. Miz has pretty much propped himself up pretty high. You know, Corbin's coming off dropping the Money in the Bank, which is pretty disastrous. And I guess him having the United States title is like consolation prize. It's not quite what he envisioned, but they need to prop him up. They need to prop up the title a bit. So have him come through for SmackDown, beat The Miz, and I think so. Yeah, I think it'd just be Corbin.
How about you, Dana?
Ooh. Wait, which one is this again?
Oh man!
Oh man, the product is not as captivating.
Yeah, Corbin and The Miz. Corbin and The Miz. Yes.
All I heard was a fire truck or like something, a siren going by.
Oh, it's Taz. was it Taz or no? Scott Steiner. Has
Corbin won anything recently? He needs a win. So yeah, I'm going with him.
Yeah, I think Corbin will make sense. You know, because again, the other reason that The Miz is the Intercontinental title. The perception that I believe it is that the United States title is garbage. So they have to elevate that and make it look like the title is worthy of something. So Corbin is the U.S. champion. So yeah, he needs to win this. And also they did allude to the fact that at Starrcade, he's defending that title against Nakamura. Yeah, so that tells you how they view Nakamura now too, which is very disappointing. So yeah, that's what I say. But yeah, good picks. Okay, these next couple matches should be interesting. We're gonna go with Ricky's most anticipated match of the night: The Shield versus the New Day. Now, let me just say this right off the bat. After watching SmackDown, I think that Vince. You know, I don't know if Vince is the one that's writing these lines or he's having the people doing commentary become as delusional as him. But for them to put over and say, oh, yes, the New Day are on the same level of the Shield, that is some complete BS. The New Day is a great team, but the Shield, that's a whole nother level right there in terms of what they have accomplished as a team, everything. So obviously the Shield and, of course, Reigns, who is Vince's number one guy. There's no way in hell that the Shield will not win this match. I mean, they have to be the favorites. So I say the Shield. And what I will also add is that I believe after this match, you may see New Day break up at some point. But Shield definitely is my pick. How about you guys?
The Shield. But I hope this is a one-off. I don't want to keep seeing these guys wrestle together and do all this threesome stuff. I mean, the same, which league does it? Damn. The trios champ. They do that in Lucha Underground. They have a title belt for trio groups. And it's just not going to work the same way. Before they were just running in and causing problems and stuff and always, uneven numbers and beating up tag teams and stuff. This just doesn't feel right. It feels forced. It feels nostalgic. Like, oh, this is for you guys to see this. But yeah, there's no point in this. This is not a real feud. This is a special event, like they keep advertising, Raw versus SmackDown, one time a year thing. And that's what I think it's going to be. You know, and then after that, they're going to shake hands in the back and be like, yo, you do you, I do me. See you later. Peace. And that's it. And I think that's the same thing with the tag. I think that's another reason why they got rid of the belt. So, like, you know what? Once this is all done, they win. Maybe they'll sit in the back and they'll do the fist bump and they'll like walk away and then act like nothing ever happened.
I think Ricky's prediction is going to happen. It may not happen at Survivor Series. It may happen at Royal Rumble, but yeah, Ambrose is going to turn it on them, and then of course now Rollins and Ambrose will have a match at WrestleMania, while Reigns goes on to compete for the Universal title. I think that's going to happen because that's before initially, and Ricky can continue. Before initially, when they had the first breakup, a lot of people thought it would be Ambrose, and then they went with Rollins instead. So, yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Well, it's because Ambrose was always the guy on the mic. He was the mouthpiece of the group.
Yeah.
So when it happened with Rollins, you're like, how does this make any sense? So Triple H and everybody said he's our guy. He's what we picked, and then they started handing him the mic, and I'm like, oh, he can talk, because he was not allowed to talk before. You know, and that's why it just makes sense. You know, you had the muscle, you had the high flyer, and you had the crazy mouthpiece. They all played their role. You know, and then if you divide them up, who do you think could make it? You know, if you think logically the way it is now, especially with what's happening with Enzo, is the mouthpiece. High flyers, you fly until you get hurt, and then what? You know, the big burly guy, you may win some matches here and there, but, you know, maybe Vince will give you a title just because you're big and strong, and that's what's going on with Roman. You know, but the one that should be winning, and when it comes to career-wise, should be Ambrose. You know, because he can wrestle, he could work the mic, you know, he could work with pretty much anybody, you know, so it makes sense to have him. So I don't know. If they make him a heel, it doesn't. I don't know. I sort of saw him as a heel anyway. You know, I put him in that Austin category. You know, he's the anti-hero. You know, he's a nice guy when he needs to be. He's an asshole when he doesn't need to be, and he flip-flops on people, and it's okay. People like him either way. You know, I think if they want a big reaction, you have to go back with Rollins and let Rollins heel turn again and double cross and then continue that story. He got a lot of heat when he did that. You know, people really didn't like that move. You know, Ambrose, I think that they were okay. He's giving payback. Okay, whatever. You know, so.
Well, at least we know.
Either way, but it sucks either way because then we both know that everybody here knows they're not going to get the belt. Whoever else wins besides Roman, heel turn or not, it doesn't matter because you're not going to win the belt. You know, so I mean, right now it's sad because I have a feeling until Brock says, you know what, I don't want to wrestle anymore, he'll always have that belt. I just don't see them ever deciding to take it off him. There's no. I mean, he doesn't need the belt because he's a draw himself, but I think they just liked the fact that they have him and they can put the belt on him and it looks good, you know, to the outside world of wrestling. You know, it's like the media world when they do these big pay-per-view events and they're like, so who's their champ? Brock Lesnar. Oh, yeah, that UFC guy. Yeah, okay. You know, and that's it. It just looks good. You know, he's big, he's strong, and he's got the belt. And it's like, oh, it makes sense. Now take him out and put, you know, Rollins back in there or put Ambrose and they look like normal dudes, you know, and if you put it on Roman, he looks massive. And again, that's what Vince likes. He likes that perception of this is where the big boys and the big men are. So if it keeps going that way, there's no point for these guys. So if anything, they should move to SmackDown.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Dana, who's your pick?
Brock.
Wait
a second. Well, we're not on that match yet. This is the New Day.
It's a full
Dana,
moon.
you gotta stay with us.
She's passing out. She's also taking a time machine and going into the future because we did not get to that point. Okay, get back in the DeLorean. Come back to 2017.
He wins all of the belts. No, oh gosh, I'm gonna say New Day, and I'm gonna say New Day because they are the fan favorites. I would like them as champs again. Even though they're entertaining without the champion, belt. They need it. I want them to win again.
What if they get that fourth member, the Titus O'Neil, and he comes in and he helps them?
Oh gosh, I can't.
That's not happening.
Because remember that was a weird gimmick too that they were
With
trying
all
to
of my
push.
heart and all of my soul, I cannot stand him as a wrestler. He's a great person, Yay, you take care of your kids, but as a wrestler, he's horrible.
Yeah, I never liked him.
He's horrible wrestling. I just can't stand him.
Never worked. I mean, they have him playing that managerial role, with the Titus Worldwide.
You remember how he was talking about how they were good managers and how they push, they're
Yeah, but he's not a manager. I mean, I don't know what the hell he's trying to do. He's trying to be an agent. He's more like trying to do the agent role. It's weird. But
it's terrible. He's terribly booked. His gimmick is awful. His acting is atrocious. I don't like him. He needs to go away. I would prefer Ellsworth join the New Day.
I'm sure Batista has already told him he needs to leave WWE, but he don't listen to him, so that's a whole nother story.
Batista.
No one listens to Batista.
Ever.
Oh no, Ricky, who's your pick?
I'm gonna go with the Shield. Gotta go with my boys. I will say that this reunion is pretty forced, and it doesn't feel the same as when they first formed, because when they first formed, they were just guys coming out of NXT, FCW. They're fresh on the scene. They're looking to make a name for themselves. They've done that since then. All three of them are main eventers. All three have won the WWE title, multiple championships and everything. New Day are much better together than they are apart, because those are three mid-carders right there. I see the Shield winning, and I don't know necessarily that it will happen at Survivor Series, but New Day has to split up. I think they've run their course. They've run their course, and they're pretty great together, and I think it's kind of a testament, with the Shield, with New Day, is that these are two factions that they work so well together because they're best friends outside of the ring, and that's a thing that works really well, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I think I want to see the Shield kind of do the run a little bit longer, because we've seen how life is like, without them together. And while they've all had, their successes, I feel like WWE has ruined the booking of all three of them individually. Reigns has won all the belts, but been forced down people's throats and seems pretty unlikable. Seth Rollins, they had him as the chicken shit heel, winning the way that Jinder Mahal has been winning with his run. Rollins is super talented and everything, but there was just something missing there. And then Ambrose, they've booked him as the weak link of the Shield, quite frankly, the distant third. I don't care about, he won that Shield triple threat at Battleground, he and all that stuff. But he's the weak link of that, booking wise. And that's a shame, because I think he's the best of the three as far as total package goes. Definitely the best on the mic. But I think they're great. They're greater together than they are apart, and that's why I want to see them continue working together for at least a year before they split up. But it's probably going to end sooner than that. I do see it a thing where Ambrose is going to be the one to stab in the back. They're not going to do it Roman Reigns, because they're too chicken shit to do that. It would be so awesome having him be the one to split them up. Because right now, let's get this out of the way right now. They're setting this whole thing to have the Shield revolve around Roman Reigns. He's front and center all the time, with this whole thing. So it feels like this is Roman Reigns and his two lackeys, Ambrose and Rollins. That's what this feels like right
It's
now.
like the Menudos, you know.
The T-shirt also.
Yeah, the T-shirt is pretty much the Roman Reigns design. And yeah, that's pretty much what it's been like, and I don't like that. You know, they've had Roman Reigns still have this, and they come out now with Roman Reigns freaking theme, his version of the Shield theme instead of the original freaking one that they had, the special ops. They're not using that. That's another thing that kind of bothers me. So it doesn't quite feel like the Shield. It just feels like it's Roman Reigns' crew. I really want, if they're going to split up, I want all three of them to have their own factions. I want Roman Reigns to have his own faction with the Usos or something. I want Dean Ambrose, I want him to be the leader of Sanity. That'd be pretty neat. I don't know who Rollins can team up with, but he can have his own thing. And have them all go to war with each other. That'd be some fun. But till that day comes, I think like we're gonna have successful Shield match on Sunday, but by Royal Rumble that's gonna split up and see where that goes. But I think New Day needs to break up before that, though. I'm done with them. I'm just done.
Yeah, so New Day doesn't rock anymore. That's the gist of that particular conversation. So sounds good. We have 3 final matches to discuss. First and foremost, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Team Raw, we have Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Asuka, Sasha Banks, and Bayley versus Becky Lynch, Carmella, Naomi, Tamina, and a mystery partner. So first and foremost, I would just say Team Raw will definitely win because their Team Raw is stacked. I mean, you and I had this discussion already, Ricky. Yeah, the Team Raw team is just absolutely going to be impossible for SmackDown to win. But as for who the mystery person is going to be, I think, well, here is who the rumor is. The rumor is it's probably going to be Nikki Bella. I wanted to be Paige instead, but obviously Paige is going to Raw. So, but yeah, I say Team Raw wins. So, Dana, how about you? Who was your pick? I wanted to go to you first, so you'll actually know who we're talking about.
Oh.
Oh, that's shade. Oh, that's great.
Many shots fired. I am going to say that one, it's Nikki, it's Nikki. That is the secret member. Also, I am going to go with Team Raw because, it's Raw and Vince McMahon. And the B Show will not win because it's Vince McMahon.
Sounds good. Okay. How about you, Adam?
I don't care who wins.
Oh, you don't care? Whoa.
This one doesn't carry any weight. I mean, they know it. That's why they're doing the mystery partner. You do that when you want to get some attention because this is the intermission match. That's the thing. It's like, okay, who wins it? Who cares? That's the thing. And it's not no knock on the women. It's just on this whole idea altogether. I don't even care about the men's one, because it doesn't do anything really. It's like we said, this is a one-off. It's not really going to build a feud between who fights who unless it's the people on the same team. So what's the point? Maybe it'll lead up to something else. So I don't know. I don't really care about this one. At first, I was sort of interested. I thought they were going to do the Paige thing. They're not doing that. Now everyone's saying Nikki Bella for SmackDown. All right, whatever. I mean, she was never that great of a wrestler. I don't see the big deal. Especially when she announces, oh, guess what? I'm going to come back soon. Well, okay, whatever. I mean, it's not like, oh, we missed you. It just doesn't do it for me. So this one will be me going to get a sandwich. Yep.
Okay, there you go. Okay, Ricky, how about you?
It's Raw, and it's not even close. It's disgusting how lopsided this is. If you look at the top women in WWE today, almost all of them are on Raw. There's a big disparity there. from a talent perspective.
Wait, real quick. I just thought of something. What if they could spice it up if that mystery person is somebody who loses at the NXT Women's event? Pay it forward. There you go.
That'd be very interesting, actually.
You know, that's a good way to call somebody up. Let's say Amber Moon doesn't win. She gets called up. No one saw that coming.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. There you go. Keep going, Ray. It just popped in my brain.
No, I mean that'd be pretty interesting thing to happen there. Yeah, Ember would be probably the most likely in that scenario, but I don't know. I think it's a bit of a stretch for that though. Paige would have been interesting as a mystery one, but I guess, like I said, she's going to go to Raw because Raw needs it. You know, Raw totally needs it because they don't have enough great women on that roster. Fucking just that it pisses me off just thinking about that whole thing. But it's gonna be it's gonna be Nikki Bella for SmackDown going in there, and it's not gonna matter because they're gonna get wrecked. If they had Asuka on SmackDown, just Asuka, if they had just put her there, that would balance things out a little bit because of how strong she is and everything. But no, so this is a match I don't really give a shit about. We're gonna just say Raw.
Well, I agree. Okay, so from one team matchup to another team matchup. So the men's Team Raw team versus the men's Team SmackDown. We have Kurt Angle with Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H versus Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and John Cena. Now, let me just say this real quick. Adam made the comment earlier that no one cares about Triple H coming back. I think a lot of people online would disagree with that because as soon as Triple H announced he was in this match, man, it was a huge reaction online from people. Positive.
I just don't see it.
Because the thing is this. One thing I will say, and I think I do agree that you have a right to be angry about this, is that, when you think about the people who are in this match, I thought the intent was to get over the younger talent, the up-and-coming talent, but you have people like Triple H, John Cena in this match. That tells me that Vince is concerned. He wants to get people to actually buy tickets to this event, so on and so forth. So this is why he has them in there, when really this is supposed to be the moment where the younger talent is supposed to shine. And when I say young, they ain't really that much younger because they're all in their 30s anyway. So that is essentially what I gather from this. But I will say this: I am interested in the match. I know Jason Jordan. There was no way in hell that was even going to even remotely be a possibility for him to be in this match. And obviously, I think that they have set up the storyline for him to turn heel on Angle. I don't know if it's going to happen on Sunday. It is going to happen at some point. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And then you also asked earlier why Bray Wyatt wasn't in this. Well, we already know Bray Wyatt. He already won at life because he got to be with JoJo. So they said, well, now he don't need to be in any other matches. Just forget about it. Yeah. So as for who I think will win, honestly, I think the Raw is going to win. And it's a little ridiculous to think that. But, with SmackDown, they initiated the first attack on Raw. And as soon as they initiated that first attack, I said, oh, yeah, because they wanted you to feel sorry for Raw. I said, yeah, well, Raw will probably win. But also because of the way they treated Kurt Angle on Raw this past week. And you had Stephanie berating him like she has people in the past, but then also saying that his job was on the line. Anytime that happens, you kind of already figure, well, yeah, he's not going to lose then. But again, it depends if they decide to have Jason Jordan get involved in that match, which they probably will do anyway. But I say Team Raw will win. I also want to say, before I move on to you guys, I'm very concerned about how they handle who gets eliminated first and who is the last person in the match. Because if Shane McMahon is still at the end of that match, whereas you have people like Shinsuke getting eliminated, I would be pissed if that happens. But it may very, very well happen. But yeah, what are you guys' picks on this match? And how about you go first, Ricky?
Well, I think we talked about this before. Shane's got to be the first to go. He's by far the weakest link.
Yeah, the weakest link. You can go.
You're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah.
He's got to go. And thing to consider, these are the names that are in this match. Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, John Cena, Triple H, Kurt Angle. It's like, is this 2017 or is it 2002? You know, like we're getting all of these old names still there. And I mean, I guess it's cool to see Kurt Angle back. And I'm sure this was supposed to be his big return, not, you know, filling in for Roman Reigns the last pay-per-view. But it seems like you're not getting a lot of that new blood in there, and it's a shame. But as far as who's going to win, I'm going to say SmackDown pulls off the upset and finds a way to win this. Because you would think that a team that has Braun Strowman has the advantage. But don't forget about Kane. Kane will interfere and probably take Strowman out. And, you know, further that little feud of theirs and stuff. And I think that'll even things out, and SmackDown will find a way to win. I'm not sure who will be the survivors. Cena will probably be one of the survivors.
Nakamura.
It'd be cool if Nakamura got that rub. Then they have Cena go out like a bitch a couple of years ago or something like that. I think it was 3 years ago. He was the captain of the team and against the Authority, and like they had him out of the match pretty early. SmackDown. My instinct says they've made Raw so strong in all of this that they got to balance it out somehow. They're going to get SmackDown this match.
That's a good observation. Very good points. I'll just make one quick point, then I'll move on to Adam. You made a very good point about Kane because of the way that match ended that we saw, and that was hilarious. It was very sloppy, but it was hilarious to see. That's how they just decided to end the show. One other thing I was going to mention, though, is obviously they have this feud between Balor and Joe, and that it is very easy for them to just turn on each other in this particular match, as we've already seen in the past. So, yeah, it's a good guess for SmackDown. We'll see. Adam, what's your pick?
Oh man, I don't know. I think that to make this interesting, they have to do a big swerve, you know. And everyone keeps saying, "Oh, we thought we were going to see Kurt Angle versus Triple H at Mania." Well, maybe this will be it. Maybe something happens where it's the last pin. Maybe SmackDown only has one person. Maybe it's Shane, and because I'm feeling he's still going to chase the boss's son, man. That's just the way it is, and he's going to end up being the last guy, maybe. And on the Raw side, it'll be Kurt Angle and Triple H, and then something happens, and you know, maybe Kurt Angle goes for the glory, or Triple H, and they bump the other guy out of the way, get a pedigree or the Angle Slam, and get the win. You know, and then next, you know, it's Kurt Angle and Triple H just doing a stare down in the ring, you know, and then the rest of the Raw team come to like squash it and stuff, and then they go to blows, you know, and then this builds it up. You know, this is what people want to see, because I don't think anyone wants to see Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle or Shane McMahon versus Triple H at Mania. I don't give a shit. Who wants to see that? I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not going to happen. And like I said, if they're going to build feuds, it's going to be on a feud with among themselves on a team. And the only team that has feud worthy contenders on it is Raw. Think about it. I mean, what do you have on SmackDown that could really build to anything important? No. I mean, right now they already changed the game by adding the game. You know, once you put a big name like that in it, you're already setting yourself up for predictable match outcomes. It's like, don't do that. That's like adding Undertaker to one side. It's like, what are you doing? You know, so remember, this is supposed to be a treat. You know, the way they market and the way they've been pushing Triple H is as if he is a new Undertaker. He only comes out in special events at a full moon, you know, and he does his match, and everyone's like, ooh, like you said, people seem to be raving about the fact he's there. I don't see it. But then again, they also 2K had him do a little commercial promoting like, hey, by the way, I'm in 2K18 in case you didn't know. I'm like, really? You're gonna do a video like that? Like, is that supposed to boost sales? You know, I'm pretty sure you've been in almost all of them, you know, since you've been in the company. But whatever, he still had to come out, and you could see he's in his suit. It was as if like a last minute thing. Like he just came out of a board meeting and said, hey, this game isn't selling. We need help. I'll do a video and post it up on YouTube. Okay. And then they go in and hey, by the way, guys, I'm in 2K18. Go get it now. Well, okay, whatever. You know, 4 versions of you in there. You know, Hunter Helmsley. You know, it's like whatever. But
get the game version.
There you go. Get the game version of the game. You know, that's the thing. I guess you're saying people care about this. So if they care that much, he's not going to go out. He's not going to lose. You know, and if he does, it's going to be at the hands of somebody screwing up on the Raw side. You know, maybe somebody bumps him or does something, and he, you know, gets hit by accident, and he ges pinned, and then that builds a feud. But either way, this whole match now changed. It's all about him, and that's what sucks.
The Authority is back from what it looks like. You already got Stephanie back being a bitch again. Yeah. You got Triple H.
They don't know what to do. Her character is the worst out of all of them because one minute she's nice, next minute she's super evil. It's like make up your mind, Jekyll and Hyde. That's what we're getting with her. It's like super evil, super nice, super evil, super. Make up your damn mind. You know, and then we see you crying at events, you know, out of character. I can't just be a good person. Why can't you just do that? Just do something to get in the middle or something. It doesn't work. I hate when she does the growl, trying to be like her dad. It annoys the hell out of me. You know, fire! Stop.
Yeah, out of every character on the show, she's the one that I miss the least when she's out of.
Yeah,
She comes back and it's like, oh fuck. You know,
it's annoying. It's just annoying. You know what it reminds you of? It's like she's filling the role of Vicky Guerrero. Yeah. Remember, Vicky Guerrero was annoying. You know, and this is what happens. Now we have this.
A quick comment to make before I go to Dana. So yeah, Backyard Wrestling in the chat asked, so what is the likelihood of either Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn getting involved in that match? Because you know they don't have a match right now on the card.
Do they care though? Remember, they backed out when they got attacked. When SmackDown got attacked, they didn't give a shit. Yeah. they rolled out. So they're like checked out when it comes to this. So I don't think they care. So I don't think they're gonna interfere in this. You know, and the way they're playing it off, gimmick-wise, story-wise, or who knows, maybe real life-wise, it looks like they're in it for themselves. You know, so right now, there's no benefit for them to help or do anything. You know what? To get on Shane's good side, I mean, we already know if you go back to the story. I mean, you can't get on Shane's good side. You know, they had that big Hell in a Cell match. So there's no point.
I would say I would laugh if they decide to interfere in the match specifically to cost the Team SmackDown the match and beat up Shane as well.
But then what? Then you're gonna have to hope that he fires him, and then Raw picked up free agents. Come on now, you know they do something cheesy like that.
Yeah, trade. Send Finn Balor to SmackDown.
But wasn't they supposed to do a shakeup before the last show or something? They were talking they were going to do another superstar shakeup, and they didn't do that. So who knows? But I don't think they're going to do it after Survivor Series.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
well, wasn't there that whole thing with Owens and Zayn that they kind of took liberties at the end of how a match went with the New Day, and they were taken off, they were sent back home from the tour?
Then they said that it was a miscommunication. They thought that's what they were supposed to do, and people were like, no, you knew better, and they're like, oh no. So I don't know, who knows? But
maybe they're being punished for this by being left off the Survivor Series card.
I don't know. Maybe, but it just doesn't fit for them. I mean, even before that, it didn't fit. Where you would have to add another match, and where would you put them? You know what I mean? It's like where would that go? So I don't know. I think it's all a work. You know, I don't think any of it's a big deal. But you know, we'll see. I mean, remember, he's a chosen one. He got to beat Kevin Owens. He got to beat the shit out of Vince McMahon. How many people get to do that? You know, he gave him color. He made him bleed on TV.
Well,
people are not allowed to bleed.
Yeah, and Sammy's heel turn was the big spot in that match. You know,
Yeah.
to end the Hell in a Cell. So
Yeah. There's
so
no way.
they got to have a plan for him. They got to have a plan for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And there's no way that these two guys get put in this spot and then decide to fuck themselves over in the company. It's like, yeah, I'm done. Let's screw this over. No. So,
Yeah. Okay, Dana. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Who you got in this match?
She's howling at the moon right now.
I think Dana may be out.
Since I was the last one picked, I'm gonna go with Steve Austin is gonna do a great job destroying Vince McMahon.
There we go. All right, that works for me.
No, I'm Team Raw. Obviously, Team Raw. They have the most interesting storylines, and the feuds coming up is going to be really great. So I'm going with Team Raw all the way. I'm just here to see if Angle, actually wrestles Triple H. That'll be interesting. That's all.
Sounds good. So we'll see. And now finally,
and also, I agree. I'm getting tired of Stephanie. Stephanie, it was just relaxing when she was gone. Now that she's back, it's just bleh.
And you hear how we're all talking about this? We're not even talking about the fact that Joe's in this match, Shinsuke's in this match, Finn's in this match. We don't even care. And those are supposed to be the future of these brands. What the hell? They should Triple H and Kurt.
Treated like such throwaway characters that even if they gave a great match, and if they end up winning or whatever, no, the way that WWE is booking them, that it's an afterthought. It's not even going to matter. There's going to be no lasting feud that's going to carry on. Yeah. So the only thing for me, I feel that this is just booked so that we can get Angle and Triple H at WrestleMania.
But they have to feud amongst themselves. Something has to happen that they get pissed at each other, for the outcome. Or they do lose and they blame each other on Raw the next week, on Monday. And then they go back and forth, and then maybe he hits them or whoever hits somebody, and then that's it. Or they make a match. I don't know how that'll work. But I think something's going to happen with the double cross. So
we'll see. We'll see about that. It's gonna be interesting.
But also, like you guys were saying, the only way for me for Survivor Series as a whole to have any type of lasting impression is if we get a shakeup. They need to start switching around the wrestlers.
Well, so for me, I think that definitely needs to happen as far as the women are concerned, because Raw has all the women. So we need to get some of them women. If Paige is going to be on Raw, somebody need to come from Raw over to SmackDown.
Well, somebody will probably move up from NXT after that 4-way.
I see Ember going to SmackDown. Nikki's going to go to Raw.
They have an open spot now with Emma gone, so.
Yeah, and then Paige will probably go. She can't go to SmackDown because the fans will just have too much fun there.
Yeah, she's gonna go to Raw.
Well, but she's going to Raw.
Woods would have to go to Raw in order for that to work.
I mean, it's going to be interesting.
I think. Well, no, Woods. No, go ahead.
No, I was just simply saying they're still trying to push Lana on us, even though we don't want her. So you have those 3 or 4.
We'll see how that pans out. Yeah.
All right, and the main event, the one we all want to see.
This is the one, like you say, when you said NXT, obviously NXT is going to have an excellent show, and it's probably going to be better than it's going to definitely be better than Survivor Series. But this is the match I'm looking forward to, because even though I already know the outcome, they have built up this match to be, they didn't have a lot of time, but with the time they have, they've done a good job, and that's AJ Styles going up against Brock Lesnar. Obviously, the plan, as we've already said, I believe it is for Brock Lesnar to lose that title to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So I don't think they're going to make Brock lose this match, even though.
Well, is that the plan? I mean, I heard that. I mean, we all know he's the man, but I think the plan is just to have Roman win at Mania regardless of who's the champ. I think he just gets the belt
Interesting. Well, who's going to be that's a whole nother question. Who's going to be champion then by the time that Lesnar loses that belt? That's interesting.
That's what you keep hearing. It's like, oh, the plan is for him to get the belt there. It's like, okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be from Brock. You know, that they can use that later on when Brock wants to get that belt back and say, hey, you didn't beat me for it. You know, and he lost to somebody else. They could do something like that. You know, they got to spice it up. They can't just think about, all right, Mania is in April, you know, so we're in November, December, January, February, March, April. We got 6 months. You know, I mean, come on, man. You can't drag it out. I mean, you could, but we've seen that pattern already with Brock. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, we'll see. I think AJ Styles, I would love to see him win this match, but to me, I think the minute of him winning the belt, that was what Vince saying, okay, I'll give the fans what they wanted. They've been wanting to get this belt off of Jinder Mahal, so this is it. Now, I don't know if they're going to keep the belt on AJ after he is done with this match, you know, because he does have a rematch with Jinder coming up. But I just feel like him getting that belt, that was it to make the fans happy. Now they'll have him lose to Brock Lesnar, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that's just my pick. Okay, Dana, who do you have in this match?
Brock will never not win. I strongly feel that. So, yeah, Brock, even though I really want AJ, and he deserves it, and he's been having such a great career in WWE, for some reason, I just still feel that Brock is going to hold on.
There you go. Okay. Ricky?
Here's the list of the last 5 years, I think it's been, of wrestlers who have beaten Brock Lesnar by pinfall or submission. John Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, Goldberg. That's the list. Just them. Just those 4 in the last 5 years, I think it's been, who have pinned or submitted Brock Lesnar. There's no way they're going to allow AJ Styles to join that list. He is not, they do not consider him this larger-than-life guy like those other 4 are. They're all in a different class. So, even though AJ is a better wrestler than all of them, but that's not how Vince sees things. So, I think it's going to be Brock Lesnar. They're going to have AJ Styles put on a heck of a fight. This is going to remind me of probably a little bit of the time that Brock Lesnar fought CM Punk at SummerSlam and had a little bit of a fight with him too before eventually he lost to Brock Lesnar as expected. That's what's going to happen. Is AJ Styles is going to go down fighting. But go down he will to 1 F5. It's all it's going to take. Because of course, you know, and it'll just piss me off even more, and I'll be upset about it. But that's how it's going to turn out. So I'm just going to say, Brock Lesnar, ho hum, go back to UFC, please.
Yep, pretty much. Okay, Adam.
I have a fantasy for this match. Not only, with AJ, I have a feeling he's going to lose, but I keep in my mind, I don't know why it keeps popping up, that the lights are going to go off. And when they come back on, Bobby Lashley is going to be in the ring. And he's going to be like, what, bitch? And the place is going to go nuts. Because, Bobby Lashley has been talking about this on Twitter and on shows, that he is in constant communication with Paul Heyman in real life. And he keeps saying that he is Paul Heyman's side bitch when it comes to Brock Lesnar. He was like, I'm there. I'm in his life, but not when Brock is there. And I have a feeling that this would be huge. I don't know his contract situation with Impact and all that stuff, but man, if there's anybody who's credible, that's believable, that can draw money, that people would actually want to see, have a big match, it is Bobby, because they both have that massive size. They both have a credible MMA career. Bobby's still kicking ass in MMA over at Bellator. You know what I mean? It's like he's still doing it. That is something they can build up and make a lot of money. And I don't know why, but I keep feeling like when I see all these, like, we're calling pretty much a squash match, then that something like that's going to happen. We need to see somebody come in to make that difference. We thought it was going to be Braun. And like you were talking about the F5 thing, one F5, you're done, you're out. No one cares. So they just blew that ship out of the water. Now we don't care. So it's got to be something else. And if there's anybody out there, it's Bobby Lashley. Yeah, he had the whole issues before with some of the management there. Some of those people still there, some are gone. Remember, there was a whole race thing he was saying with the creative and stuff. But man, when it comes to money and what's best for business, Bobby is best for business, especially with the whole thing with Brock. So I don't know. I mean, I don't see. Think about it. We're talking about AJ, but really, who else do we see beating Brock for this belt?
That's easy.
Who? Roman, we don't see that. We don't see that. They may see that, but no, that's not a draw. That's not a draw. Maybe little kids would want to see that, but for the action, that's not a draw. We need to see a draw. We need to see something that's even possible. Would Bobby win it? Probably not. But damn, that would be a good match. Two big dudes, really going at it. I don't know. That's and then I'm against the whole big man thing, but I mean, we got to see it for what it is. That's how it rolls there. You just pointed it out with all the big names that have beaten Brock. AJ don't fit that list. So then what do? I mean, we can wait until they boost up our buddy Aleister Black, who we're backing up, but I don't know when that's going to happen. It's sad, but yeah, I mean, that's my fantasy booking, but it's not going to happen, So it'll just be AJ taking the loss for this one, and everybody will probably walk out even before this match, because what's the point? AJ is going to work his ass off, and Brock is going to do what Brock does, and that's it. It'll be over.
Yeah, well, don't rule out that.
Unless, because you got to remember, this is not for a title. Yeah. So he technically could lose this and still look strong for Brock. He could lose, unless AJ has some kind of thing where the club come out and help him. And he wins that way. And they do the little too sweet thing, and then they walk away, and then that's it. Doesn't even matter because they're on two different shows.
That'd be cool, but that'd be fancy booking, and the only way that they would do that is to try to push an angle there to continue that with Brock Lesnar, and that's not going to happen.
The only if there is interference, the only interference I see, Jinder Mahal coming down there trying to cost Styles the match. And then that will be how they will ride out that, oh, yeah, he lost the match because of the interference.
I forgot about Jinder Mahal. He's not even on the card, is he?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, wow.
No, he's not even on the card.
He'll appear in some capacity, I'm sure. He was just recently WWE champion for way too long.
But remember, if he comes down to interfere, he doesn't interfere. He gets his henchmen to interfere. So maybe he comes down the ramp, he gets his little buddies to run down, but what's it cost AJ the title, the match to lose? But then that's a squash. That's a squash match for a finish, for a main event finish. Come on. People deserve better than, I know, but they deserve better. But remember, this is not just a WWE. This is a pay-per-view WWE event. This is actually not just on the network. This is one for people to buy. And if you want those people to keep buying the big shows like Survivor Series, Rumble, Mania, and stuff, then you gotta make it good. You gotta give a good quality main event. They gotta figure something out. It'll probably be a clean finish, but I don't think it's gonna be very entertaining. That's it. It's like, man. That's why I do miss Paul Heyman. I mean, yeah, he's a family guy. He's tired of it. He always talks about how he just goes in like everybody else, does his job with Brock, and that's it. He's not part of creative anymore. He said that part of him is gone. He's done with that. But man, I miss when he would write these crazy stories. Fantasy booking, that was all him. The lights going out, coming on, and seeing somebody that wasn't supposed to be there be there. You know, that was awesome. You know, a match is going on. You're like, okay, this is fine. Lights go up, lights turn back on. Rob Van Dam, Sabour in the ring. What? Let's do this. You know what I mean? Times he did that with Taz showing up and Raven. I mean, it was amazing. There's so many other guys that they can do that. We see sometimes Bray Wyatt does it. The lights go up, yeah, come back on. He's in there. You know what I mean, right? Hell, he does that in the game. A lot of people don't know that. He does that in the game, in WWE Universe. If you're facing any one of the other Wyatt family members or anybody that's in his crew, that'll happen. Where you're wrestling and then the lights go out, you hear, "Argh!" And then he's in the ring in that spider pose. And he'll come up and kick your ass and cost you the match. So it happens. But yeah, I mean, do something like that. I mean, spice it up. Spice it up, especially for the main event. All the other ones, whatever. But this is your main event. It's supposed to always be the best card, you know, best match on the card, right? Absolutely. That's what we're trained to think. You know, the last match is the best match, right? That's why you save the best for last. Don't give us a squash match. You know,
I hope not.
We know AJ's going to go all out, but my thing is, and my fear, people are like, oh, well, you're saying he's going to be great. No, that every time he goes for any one of his flying elbows or moonsaults or 5-foot, that Brock's going to catch him and just throw him around. You know, that's my fear. He's going to do the springboard elbow, and then Brock is going to catch him and do an F5. You know, it's going to be one of those reversal. And
hey, whoa. Uh-oh.
Someone grab Ricky. Someone just grab him.
That's what happened. Yeah, some.
You know, and
that's fine.
And that's what I'm worried about. I don't want to see that. I don't want to be like, oh, every time he tries to do something, he just gets reversed and he gets caught. And, you know, I mean, what else can he do? What else can he do? I mean, he's going to try to work a body part, right? That's what you do to big men. You know, you go for a leg, and he'll probably go for that calf crusher, right?
Yeah.
Go for the weak spots. You know, obviously he has a lot of upper body strength, so he can't do anything with the arms, but the legs. You know, and but it's not going to work. You know, it's not going to work. You know, he's not going to pull a Chris Benoit, you know, and start suplexing, you know, Brock Lesnar. You know? Chris used to do that, remember? Chris would make big men look small because he had so much power, you know, and we're not going to see that on Sunday night. And that's why I'm like, what else can you do but throw in a surprise, throw in a wrench?
We have another like a Goldberg Brock situation where, you know, Styles does end up winning very quickly.
Then it's okay, but it doesn't lead to anything. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it really doesn't matter who wins this match. That's why I think it'll be better for AJ to win this match, you know, so that way at least he comes away strong. And then Paul Heyman could say, you know what, whatever. My God, my client didn't take it too serious. You know, it's not for the title. He just went in there and he underestimated him. Whatever. Let's move on. And that's it. You just squashed it. It's okay. It's a one-off. See you next year at Survivor Series. That's it.
Absolutely. I saw that message, Ricky. Yeah, I agree. So looking forward to seeing what happens on the pay-per-view this weekend. And we'll definitely do another show in the future and talk about our thoughts. But I believe that we are definitely, the show has been going on for a while. I think it's about time to wrap up everything. So we'll definitely want to thank everybody for checking out the show. Definitely check out the event. Let us know what you think of our predictions, as well as share your own in the chat. So final shout outs. Adam, do you have any final shout outs that you would like to give?
Shout out to all the mean people on the Throwdown and for hating all my Call of Duty games and advices about how awesome that game is. And a shout out to everybody here and people watching and listening. Enjoy wrestling. Wrestling is fun. Don't let people talk shit about it. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Dana, final shout outs.
Shout out to everyone listening, and you know, to the original WarGames, Top on the Cages, and to Dusty Rhodes, who created the original WarGames.
Fake news.
WWE came around and disrespected the cage.
Absolutely.
I'm waiting
How
for that
about you?
3-tier ready to rumble. Let's bring that back.
Yeah, let's do
Ooh.
that. How about you, Ricky? Any shout outs?
I'll just shout out to all our viewers. Keep watching, keep supporting Koalition, keep supporting wrestling. Go to your local indie show, support them. Watch Survivor Series, watch WarGames or NXT WarGames in this case, not the real thing.
Or Lucha, that's coming back.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's funny because when that came out, there's a lot of lucha wrestlers saying, "No one told me," So I think only Johnny Mundo's coming back. Everybody else, because
wow.
a lot of people don't seem to know what's going on because they didn't even know what was going to happen with the promotion. Because remember, they were in talks with Netflix. And Netflix was thinking of picking up as one of their original series based off of ratings for season 1 and 2, but I guess that didn't pan out. So it's just back on the El Rey network. But we'll see.
We'll see. All right, so I'd like to again give a shout out to all the listeners, viewers. By the way, for those who don't know, we actually are on iTunes now, so there will be a link to subscribe to the iTunes feed. Definitely. Oh yeah, we're on iTunes. I probably should have mentioned that at the start of the show, but I'm so excited to just start the show. Yeah. We're on iTunes, ladies and gentlemen, so definitely check us out, give us a rating, let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you all next time.
Yeah.
Peace.
Ricochet for life. There we go. 2018.